I'm gonna wait to.
I know. And we're live.
We're live.
We are live. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Mazel tov. Feliz Navidad. I don't know. Dude, it's been a minute since you've been here.
I know.
Working on the design, the background.
I
you
love
see the
it.
things we're doing. Now we have a place to put all of our junk instead of having it piled here.
And I love that there's so much space.
It's changed a lot. This is like the third or fourth iteration of what we're doing.
I love the fact that I can lean up
know, it's
against
like,
this and I'm not worried that
the
it's going to
table's gonna
fall over.
Oh my God.
Because it's not stacked on a couple of boxes.
It's not a wobbly plastic table stacked on wobbly boxes.
I think we ruined a drink one time. I remember coming and I had a drink prepared and I
my
tipped
God.
over the table and I was all bummed out because I was like, oh man.
That filthy
There it
tablecloth
goes.
on it that we never washed.
Yes.
Oh, thanks for joining us.
Oh,
Happy
wow.
New Year's. We reminiscing from where we started on two chairs sitting there in front of
I
the closet,
know.
and now we're like almost a legit mini studio.
This is pretty like
It's getting there.
this is pretty bomb and it should be inspiring for anybody who started a podcast like 5 years ago.
So
Just
back
kidding.
back in what I call the Delilah days,
Ah.
I bought a Chinese-made microphone and hooked it up to my laptop. I know, right? You're looking at all the goodies behind me.
No, the thing just fell.
The tile just fell. I need to put new tape on it. But yeah,
made
sitting
me-
at my
it made me
desk with a
cough.
mic and be like, test was my Chinese microphone.
That is so
And
funny.
Now we have like Joe Rogan legit Shure microphones.
You know, I almost kind of feel like at some point we need to like have an official T-shirt or something.
Oh, I'm on that.
That was
So-
just now said.
What I've learned about these microphones, these are Shure,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't remember the model number offhand, but they're like the microphones everybody uses, and they have really good quality. They get you right here, very little background noise, and a lot less white static, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what I'm almost thinking that we should be talking about every time we come on this podcast
Yeah.
is it's kind of like not only do we like to talk and hang out with friends, but also talk about the progression of the show.
So what I was going to tell you is when I found out about these microphones, you can't tell, but here in the back, it's got like 4 little holes.
No.
You can get customized little plates to put on the back with the name of your show on the back of the mic.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, oh, I think we're going to have to get those. We're going to have to. I mean, come on, Jeanette.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's like the progression.
dude, we're
It's
getting there.
almost there.
Well,
Almost.
welcome to the Mark and Jeanette Show.
Wow. we're
And
here.
if you're looking for a new podcast that's riveting, informative, and exciting, this is probably not it.
No.
Here's the way I look at it, and
Okay.
I had to put some thought about this because, you know, Jeanette and I, we do ops.
Yeah.
You know, we're hardworking professionals,
Yes.
and I really thought about this. There's probably a lot of people out in the world that can really relate to us where we're at in like our life, in our career. We're professionals, and there's a lot going on in the world. And who has time for like? Ugh, sometimes you get into the news and it's just overkill.
Yes.
And sometimes you get into this and it's overkill, and it's like, you know, I could see us being like relating to
A lot of people, honestly.
lot of people.
Majority of people who are out there just
yeah,
working, hardworking professional who are just trying to like,
and you
make it
try
at
to
the end of
keep
the
this
day.
light. You try to
Yeah.
keep it lighthearted, and like we say, we're having drinks with friends. So that's to celebrate the
Oh.
New Year's. We have mimosa. Jeanette has her truly, and
Oh.
I had a special bottle of tequila that was really good because I drank it.
It was special. If
It
you
was-
drank it all.
It was delicious.
When did you drink that?
I happened to stop by the neighbor's house one night and said, hey, I got a bottle of tequila. And he only likes Hornitos. And Hornitos,
Hornitos is okay
I guess
if
it's a
you're
good
gonna
mixer
make.
if you're going to waste it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good margarita mixed
Yeah,
tequila.
it's a good-
It's
right.
not one for shots though,
Well,
or just to drink over ice.
right? And
Yeah.
so my buddy, he doesn't drink tequila over ice. So I said, here, let's give this a try. And we just started drinking it. And we are both like, this is amazing.
Oh my god!
So I'm going to get another bottle. And it wasn't expensive. It was my Corlejos brand.
Yeah.
It was called 99,000 hours, which I did the math, equates to like 11 and a half years. So it's just a tequila anejo. the older tequila.
Well, how very hipster that they started to put the hours, not the
I know, and
years.
even the bottle, like the tequila, the Corlejos I get, it's like usually a really pretty blue brown bottle or a red one.
That's
but
a good
that
gift
one,
for anybody.
that one was round like this, and the sides was cut at an angle. It was super pretty. And it was
Oh,
super heavy, so I carried it with me everywhere I was. Like, I'm gonna open this up with all the friends around, and we just hadn't gotten together. And I was like,
oh,
my buddy was like, "Let's have a drink," and I'm like, "I want to drink my tequila. I just want to drink my tequila. Just let me dance."
I just want to dance. Don't hold me back.
Oh my God! But for New Year's mimosas,
All right.
cheers, my friend. Here's to a fantastic
Cheers.
2025.
Yes, we got to have a. Well, this is going to be a great year.
We've officially have gone way past Back to the Future.
Oh, strange times.
Oh, that's interesting. It's strawberry mimosa, Soleil mimosa strawberry. Really good. It's
Is this one of the local wineries? Oh,
I don't know, Soleil,
I don't know.
Soleil. That's not too bad. That's really good. For some reason, I thought we had pomegranate, but maybe I already drank it.
This is good. Well, you know, when the new year turns, that's okay.
I know, right?
Or on a random Friday.
I know.
Just kidding.
On a random Friday, a
Monday.
random Monday.
Whenever.
And you know what? And if you're a professional working hard and you have a random drink of wine on a Monday night, hey, you deserve it. I'm talking to you, America. You work hard. Go for it. Just dabble. Just don't beat the kids up or anything like that. Like
Just
just
don't
enough.
beat the
Just
family.
enough.
Just don't cause psychological harm to anyone's
So
brain.
Jeanette got me this beautiful book. This book, This Day in History.
Yes.
It's every day for the year. It shows like events that happen every day. So today's January 8th. Today in 1790, George Washington delivers his first State of the Union address. And he delivered it in New York City before a joint session of Congress in New York City because there was no White House yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. And this day, we're all going to learn. For the whole year, we're going
I
to
know,
learn.
dude. This is so stupid awesome. I freaking love this.
I like it too. It's
Dude,
gonna be
thank
cool.
you.
You're
This-
welcome.
And what I said earlier is, tell me how I know Jeanette knows me without saying it.
This book.
This book right here says it all. Dude, thank you. That's amazing. Dude, I feel so blessed. You know what? Okay. A lot of stuff to talk about. But you know, this is our first time getting together. You know, we were trying to do it for New Year's. And I don't know. You know, like you say, it's going to be a great year.
It is gonna be a
2024 was a
great
great year too. Was fast. A lot of
It
stuff
was
went on.
fast. A lot of good stuff happened, though. A lot
Yeah.
of life-changing things have happened to people I know,
lot of
career-wise,
people.
personal-wise. A lot of good stuff. Of course, there's some heartache around that, too. But there's just a lot of good, life-changing things. And I just feel like, I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. You know,
Yeah. A lot of things to look forward to.
I don't know. I don't know if people think about this, but I do. But I take a strong look at where I'm at right now, where I've come, where I'm going, and the people that are in my professional life that I know really well, that I really respect. I feel like I work for individuals and I work with individuals that are so incredibly intelligent, and I feel
Yeah.
like I'm just getting so much for them in the even though I'm doing like a lot of paperwork, doing this, doing that, it's very fulfilling.
Yes.
And that's God. It's just. I think there was a stretch there where I wasn't feeling that.
I think
You know what I mean?
sometimes I think that what happens is that we're going to experience burnout.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as long as we've been doing what we've been doing,
Yeah.
of course we're going to experience burnout. Of course we need that thing to refresh us. We need to talk to people to inspire us, but also we need to somehow find it within ourselves to
Yeah.
like dig deep and figure out what it is that you want to accomplish. Who is the person you want to be? And I think that
Yeah.
I don't know about for you, but being a manager for the first time, I've had all of these great leaders. I had leaders who I learned so much from. I've learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from a lot of people. But I also realized that I'm not you. I'm not
Just
So-and-so.
Just be more. Channel your inner
Inner
Mark.
Mark. And
Oh,
it's about, for me, a big thing that was important was being authentic.
yeah.
And being true to who I am and realizing that I don't have to be like everyone else. I'm not a cookie cutter person. I want to be I want to be a supportive
Yeah.
person. I want to be an understanding person. I want to be a firm person. I want to be sure that my team delivers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also don't want to be, I want to be authentic.
Yeah.
And I want to be transparent. I want to be, I don't know, I want to be fair. There's a lot of things that I had to put a list on who I was as a person to not compromise who I was. And I think it's important. I also think
Yeah,
that coming
like, how
into the
awesome.
year, I have to reaffirm all of those things about the kind of person I want to be, whether it's personal, whether it's professional.
You know, it's funny that you say that you have to write it down.
Yeah, you
Even
do.
writing it down of who you are.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you do that? Like, never.
True.
Or there was a book I bought once. Me and my buddy were like really into goal setting and getting ahead, and like famous people who made it later, like made it later in life, middle of life, or early, like and whatnot. And part of it was like, well, asking you like, I think the book was called Five. It was called Five,
Yeah.
and it talked about making 5-year plans every 5 years. And those were some of the questions in there, like, who are you? Who do you want to be?
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. And you can be very generic about it. Because I think at the time I first did, I was like, I want to be a leader and I want to be cool. I want to be successful.
I
But
want to
the-
be cool.
I know, right? Yeah. It was one of the books I used to sell like in Starbucks. but it's funny that you say that, like, dude, like, God, you just like hit the nail on the head. It's like there's like a key word that I think anybody that's listened to us this like, hey, for our 2 or 3 listeners out there, you heard it.
You heard it.
But
You heard it today.
but no, when you said like be authentic, like
yeah.
when you're trying to be a leader and you're trying to be a good employer and you're trying to be a good employee and you're trying to be all this stuff, but then trying to find the authenticity of who you are within all of that and maintain the authenticity while you're still trying to make good decisions. You're trying to move stuff forward. You're trying to just do so much. Don't forget like this who you are and the authenticity of who you are. Do you know what I mean? So as a guy, and it's kind of funny, like as a guy, because guys, we're a funny beast. Ooh, I got that allergy itch in my ear.
Ooh.
Do you know what that is? The allergy itch, you get it in your ear. But
Oh, I have allergies all year round.
oh my God.
It's
But,
terrible.
us guys are funny. Any guy listening to this can probably agree with this. When you're in the dating game, you want to be cool and you want to be excited. You get dressed up, and you put this outfit on, and you're out with your buddies, and you, what up, bro? What's up, dude? Dude, let's do some shots. You know what I mean? And the girls are around. You're all trying to impress the chicks. You're just trying to be like the cool guy. You have a beard, and you're trying to be this image, right? And within that image is like, is that your true authentic you, or is that just you in the moment? And how does that person you're being at that moment like transform into who you are, into that like you say, that authentic you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I don't know how it is with women. I don't know if women do that. Like, hey bitches, let's get all dressed up and put our short skirts on. Let's get slutty. Hey, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a girl. I don't know.
I think it goes the same way, and maybe in some groups you might say, let's get slutty, but not really. It's just, we don't really want to call ourselves sluts, but we will call our friends sluts. Oh, you look like a slut. You
Hey,
get
slut.
it. Go get it. I'm just kidding.
I get so much shit for that. I get so much crap for that because whenever
But
I'm
you
talking
could
to my
only call
female
you
friends,
could only call your close friends sluts.
I always get with
You
like,
can't.
let's go bitches, oh sluts, and it's like, and like we actually don't say that. It's like that Saturday Night
don't say
Live
that.
with
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that one.
yeah,
Oh.
Thor, Chris Hemsworth.
I love that one. I love that. I love that skit, and you got
Oh.
me into seeing that. It's
Dude,
like,
hey
oh.
bitches.
like, oh, isn't he so cute? Like
Our
Chris
friend Claire.
Hemsworth.
Like, guys, do we really know our friend Claire?
I think Claire is Chris Hemsworth. Like, what?
Oh my God.
What? What gave it away? The muscles? The wig?
Do we really know Claire?
Really no Claire?
I don't know.
He
Oh my
keeps
God.
getting up. Okay, bitches.
Okay,
I'm back.
bitches. We don't really call each other bitches.
I know, we don't call each other bitches.
Oh my God, but what a great word. Be authentic. Good God. So yeah, so it's a great year, and I'm really thankful for everybody in my life, and like I say, the people
Aw.
around me, like say my work life, my friends, my family, and just when you stop and look at it, there really is a lot to be thankful about.
There really is.
Oh.
There really is.
Yeah.
And just having to, not having, sometimes we have to like stop focusing on the things that don't really matter and focus on the things that do.
That's interesting that you say that. God, that struck such a chord with me. Stopping focused on things you're not interested in, and okay, so I went down this whole rabbit hole in my mind.
Yeah.
I was watching the movie, The Pope's Exorcist.
Oh my! I started watching that, and to be honest with you, I think I may have like fallen asleep, which is really weird because it was creepy.
It was,
and I don't know how I think I stayed up too late and I ended up falling asleep.
And like demon horror flicks, like spirituality horror,
that stuff
freaks
scares
me out.
That scares me the worst.
That and UFOs. And it's like the clown in the gutter. It's like, you know.
I'm probably gonna climb down the gutter.
Freddy Cougar in your dream. It's like,
it's like, stop it.
Stop. I'm going to sleep, bro. But stuff like that freaks me out. And so it's weird. Russell Crowe, who plays the Pope's exorcist.
Yes.
So it's based on a true story. And it even like right before the credits roll, it talks about that he wrote a number of books. Mm-hmm. So I'm listening to one of them on Audible. One of my things I'm going to try to. I used to read a lot more, so I'm going to try to listen to books now to see if I can get back into it. The habit.
I want to get back into. I was really good about reading business development books. I love that, and it's not because I like to talk about business all the time, but there's it's kind of a way to improve. It applies to a lot of things like personal life. It can apply to a lot of things, not just business. It's actually very good.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Self-help, if you want to call it, but honestly, it's very good because it promotes positivity. It promotes a lot of like can-do manifestation. It kind of focuses on a lot of like the belief, the power of believing in yourself to do it.
How applicable it is to everything. Like, so when I was putting up these bookshelves, I was going through some of the books that I keep here. And I was having those moments like, oh, that's such a good book. Oh my God, that's such a good book too. And like, oh my God, I haven't read that in forever.
Yeah, you
got
some books right there.
Dude,
you're gonna go into audio books.
As they go up, they all have different like
are they level?
Like they are. Like I have like a lot of spiritual books over there. Like I even have the Bible, Hakakur, the Musashi. He's the greatest samurai of all time in Japan, based like a real guy. There's one here. Hard time create hard men.
It's like war?
Or no, hard times create strong men. No, just like how hard times in life could be war, could be just like the Great Depression, that kind of thing. But how those hard times make strong men.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe sometimes you have to have a hard, life-changing experience in order for you to like bend yourself a little.
Oh, absolutely.
For us to stop being wimps and crying in the corner.
Ben, for these little snacks that you brought. Good God, I love these. Ugh.
Isn't that like, I'm sorry, now it's just become a tradition without...
These Hormel,
without it really,
salami and cheddar and cracker snacks.
I remember, too, that you like the salami ones, not the pepperoni. I was like, wait a minute.
God, it's amazing. So I was watching the Pope's Exorcist. Mm-hmm. And whether you're religious or not, right? If you're watching the movie to watch it or if you've seen it, I'm Catholic, and so the way I perceive it is probably different than the way you perceive it versus somebody else that's like a Christian or Protestant or whatever, right? We all have different ways we look at it, but it's kind of an interesting movie either way. So there's a point where he's talking about the devil, and he's telling the other priest, like, you have to confess your sins you're disavow yourself of those sins, and so you go into battle with the devil with like a clear mind and clear conscience. And Russell Crowe said something, and that caught my attention because, well, he says the devil will use your sin to he says to he goes, the devil will use your sin to distract you, to cause distractions. He says, keep praying, keep focusing on God and praying and doing what we're doing so we can fight the demons that are in here. But he says we have to go to confession because he's going to use our sins to deceive us and distract us.
It sounds like something that can be applied normally for anything.
Yes.
When you let your past, when you keep lingering on past relationships or past failures, and you keep blaming that and you can't propel yourself forward. It's like you hold yourself there. It's kind of
Even
like
your
a prison.
ability to forgive yourself.
Sometimes yeah. And that, I don't know, but for me, it's taken years for me to just accept who I am. Good, bad, all of it. And
well, you know what's funny?
You have to forgive yourself. You have to accept who you are.
And things like that will linger in your mind.
Yeah.
For so much, and it will be a distraction. Care for some more.
Yeah.
And it will distract you because you're putting, when you sit there and you think about something like that, you may not realize it at the time, but you are distracting yourself. It's like, because you're putting all that mind and that energy into it. So, like, one thing I'm thinking about lately is like, oh man, we've been so into like UFOs and aliens and all that, but it's like, there's so much going on in the world of your personal life, and sitting here watching like the latest YouTube uploads of like of this and that and this and strange things, and it's like, what a distraction that is. And I've always said this about like UFOs and all that conspiracy theories. It's fun to think about. It's fun to talk about. And if there is a UFO up there, I'm not smart enough to know what it is anyways.
And it's just, it's fun for us to talk about just because.
But can you imagine the amount of energy some people really put into it, though?
Okay, I can't do that. Listen, I like to look up at the sky at night.
Yeah.
And see if I see anything off.
All the time.
Weird or anything, but
all the rockets I see launched in the sky.
There's so much open space here in New Mexico, and there's a lot of, and it's mostly you can see the stars. If people don't know where New Mexico, Las Cruces is at, you can see the stars. Even
really
though
good.
You have city lights, it's not so blinding like big cities where you can't see the sky.
Right.
Most nights are clear.
And if you drive 10 minutes outside of town, you see thousands.
Oh, yeah.
You see the Milky Way.
So to look up at the sky, it's a very, for me, I'm always in awe because it always grounds me to think about how small we are. And when we talk about like not focusing on the small things, sometimes like today, earlier, like we're chit-chatting and I'm like, I got to get out of the office, but I can't. And I'm like beating myself up because I'm like, I need to get this done and I want it to be perfect. And, and sometimes I tend to focus on the small things and you're like, just get out of there.
Oh, I know, right?
And I'm like, oh, yeah, I will. And then I really just kind of like, no, you need to get out of here.
Right.
And just like stop. Like, and those little things, and that's not a bad thing. If you want to be good at what you do, that's great. But learn to have a moment for yourself and learn to just walk away. And don't beat yourself up for things that you're like, oh man, it's not going perfect.
You know, it's funny you said,
like, go do something else.
Something that makes you realize how small you are, right? You look in the sky.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the pale blue dot?
No.
Believe it or not, in the last video podcast I put up, I tried to put up a couple of pictures in there.
Oh, your tiles keep falling off.
It's because the tape I put on was wet. When the tiles were wet, when I put them up, the tape probably lost its glue. So just these ones right here, I'll have to redo.
But it's also perfect that it's happening like now because we're talking about like where we've come. So this is a learning moment. Maybe in a year we'll figure it out and we'll say, hey, remember when the tiles were falling off during the podcast?
If you're starting your own very own podcast and you have a tile, a sound foam tile fall off, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You know what? Just get past it. Don't focus on it. Focus on the big picture.
Focus on the big picture.
What are your long-term goals?
What are your long-term goals? Then don't let something small like a tile falling distract or derail you. The pale blue dot.
Yes.
So Voyager, when it was going into outer space, is going further and further. Like the one man-made thing that's gone further away from Earth than anything else. It's gone into the heliosphere, which is the part of space that's outside past Pluto. So you have like the inner planets. You have the asteroid field, like the asteroid field.
Yes.
And like the asteroid field, it's like a bunch of random asteroids, all on the same plane as Earth and all that. Then you have the big gas giants, and then beyond that, you have another. As you go into the outer, like deep space, you have like just like Earth has an atmosphere, like our solar system has an atmosphere. And it's called the heliosphere.
How pissed off are we going to be when we find out that we've been living inside someone's body?
I know, like we're like little atoms or something.
I know. How pissed off are you?
There's a
gonna be?
comic.
I'm not gonna be.
There's
mad.
a comic based on that concept called the Micronauts or Macronauts, and there it's like a whole civilization, and like and it's really cool. It's all the concept's cool. They have like advanced technology, flying cars. They're always fighting battles, and they live like on atoms.
Do you think by us drinking alcohol in like Adam's body, whoever I'm going to call this body Adam, do you think that by us drinking alcohol we're trying to help Adam? Just throwing it out there. Okay, continue.
Wow.
I know, right?
So the pale blue dot. So the Voyager 1, it's going out and it gets to Saturn. And when it's going past Saturn, they turn it around and the camera appears back in our direction through the rings of Saturn, and they snap a picture. And you can see the rings of Saturn going through it. I could probably show you a picture of it here, and I could probably upload the picture. But oops, that's not a picture, that's an ad. And so you see the rings, and through the rings of Saturn, you see a little tiny blue dot. That's Earth. And it's called the pale blue dot. And Carl Sagan, a great like physicist of the time, he's like who's the guy Tyson DeGraw right now? He was like before him. He was like their Neil Tyson DeGraw, and their astrophysicist at the time. And he says this big old quote about it where he says, "To my mind, there's perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly and compassionately with one another, and to preserve and cherish that pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known." It's a lot longer on that. He says it's the only world our civilization has known. Our whole history, our whole past, our whole future is on this little like pale blue dot.
How strange.
Because when you look at it through the rings of Saturn, it's just a little tiny itty bitty thing.
How weird. How exciting, and how like
Yeah.
I don't know, just how much it puts in perspective about our role,
Yeah.
our part in this whole universe.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like I thought, thinking about New Year's, and good things to come in New Year's. We have a new president that has big goals, and
Yeah.
the mood of the people has changed, and people have really high hopes moving into 2025.
Yeah.
And I think about like, hey, the pale blue dot. We all live on this one planet, and we gotta take care of each other and all that stuff. And you think about the wider world, like somewhere in December, Ukraine passed like 1,000 days of the war already. They've been fighting for over 1,000 days already.
Remember when, like, basically, it almost seemed like from the beginning we were talking about
From
this.
like day one it happened, we were talking about it, and they're still fighting. And North Koreans have gone in there and they've massacred the North Koreans, and they're still fighting, and they're hoping that with the new president and administration they'll help broker a peace deal. And like, yeah, we've been talking for that for over 1,000 days. And then like I'm thinking about everything going on right now, and there's threats that China's talking about invading Taiwan before Trump goes into office, so that way hopefully if they're already starting it before he goes in office, there's less repercussions. Like, it's just all this craziness going on in the world. Like,
it's wild. And then you have
Yeah.
natural disasters.
California, the year started off in LA, like monstrous files. God bless those people, man.
Say
a
and
prayer for them.
I hadn't really, I'm not going to lie. I was so just in the dark for a minute. I just wasn't really like watching the news there for a minute, and not even reading any news feeds. I was just kind of stuck in my own little world.
Did you
And
see
then
videos of people running from their cars and from their homes?
I know, and then when it really kind of hit, I was like, wait a minute. This is actually, like Sunset Boulevard, and like, I mean, this is really like, I've been to some of these places.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not there. It's bananas. It's not gonna recover. This is not.
It will recover, but a lot of
gonna
people
be
in that area, though. Like, there's so many people being affected by it, and it's
if people weren't moving out of California before because of the cost of living.
Oh yeah, they got to get their
this is
insurance check and see what they can buy. Like they can buy with their insurance check, they'll be able to buy 5 houses in Arizona or New Mexico.
I know.
It's like, leave your California politics in California. We don't need it here.
Well, we've already just seen here, just because people have been moving to Texas.
Yeah.
Some people to New Mexico. We've had a lot of newcomers in even our little
town.
and it's actually gotten really big.
Yeah.
In a really short amount of time, more houses are being built because it seems like there's a house shortage. There's like a living, you have to make more houses, create more apartment complexes.
Right.
And as quickly as they're building them, people are moving in.
Yeah.
And there's people. There's a lot of young professionals I see that have moved in.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know who they are, but they've definitely, you see them everywhere.
I still consider myself a young professional, but
I want to consider myself a young middle-aged. Oh, finally. Are we finally middle? I'm middle. I'll claim it.
I'm still young. I'm sorry.
A young at heart.
I'm still a young professional.
I'm still so young at heart, and it's probably just... It's always going to be like that. I think it's just our generation. It's our generation. I don't know.
It's weird to say this, but ending 2024 with a new hip.
You're going to freaking rock it in 2025.
Dude, it's just weird. It's weird to think that. I was like laying down and I was feeling the side of my legs like, oh, I can feel this metal thing in my body.
Could you really?
So weird. Yeah, it's like what the heck? It's just weird. Like, I'm all working out now, and I'm like probably doing more than I should, but I'm like, hey, I don't feel any pain, and I'm not pushing myself, but everything feels great, and it's like, I get this big metal thing in my body that lets me live a normal life now.
How wild.
Like when you kind of think about it, it's kind of wild.
It is kind of wild, but thank God, though. Thank God that there was a solution for it.
So you've known me when the pain, like before. Okay, so when I started working with you, and I'd stand up, and everybody would be like, hey, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just sore. I've been sitting down all day."
But at the same time, though, when I first met you, and I started to get to know, like who you were, you'd be like, every day, oh, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the gym. I did this, and you never freaking stopped.
I broke my nose this weekend.
I know. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna walk the Baton Memorial thing. Oh, I haven't even trained. I ran it. It's like I just signed up for it. When is it? It's on Saturday. Oh, and then people train for this, and you didn't even train. You're like, oh, and I'm gonna carry sandbags. And you, such a fool, you did it, and you completed it, running with sandbags. But
I came to work wearing Crocs.
I know, you paid for it, because you're like barely walking, you have blisters on your feet, you come with Crocs. So imagine this man with a suit and tie wearing Crocs to work. Wild.
What's weird, let's finish this off here. What's weird was trying to run now with the hip, because,
it's okay. We got some Trulies.
What was weird was trying to run, because when I ran with the hip now, my body still wants to run the way I used to run, and it still tries to limp even though I don't need to. It was like the weirdest feeling. It's like, I guess I have muscle memory of like that I should run like that, but even though I don't need to now.
Yeah.
It was like the weirdest feeling.
Get over, I guess, that mental hurdle.
It's like, stop being stupid, Joe.
Stop being stupid.
Stop being stupid.
Don't let your ghost injury haunt you.
They're the gentleman that I really look up to in my life, and a business acquaintance. He's 65 years old, and he just tore a ligament in his knee skiing.
Ooh.
Down a mountain.
Dang. Down a mountain, tore his ligament and everything?
So he goes home, and he's like, well, I know what I can't do, and I know what I have to do, and rehab, and he's like, but I can still bike ride. So, and so he's bike riding, and I'm like, good God, I love this guy because
that's you.
Yeah,
that's you in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's you.
I was like,
you would do that. You would freaking do that. I
broke my back playing rugby, or I broke my back motorbike racing. But if I don't move too much to the side, I'll be fine. So I'm gonna go for a run.
I know, and that's the thing. If nobody has a sense of who you are, ever since I met you, you're like, it's kind of like that one movie, and maybe people know what I'm talking
Are you
about.
talking about Shrek?
No, I'm talking. Stupid. No,
Donkey.
donkey. You're donkey. You're donkey. No, well, now that I think about you being a jackass, maybe, but maybe. No, it's like Harold and Kumar.
Oh my God! No,
White Castle.
Patrick.
Patrick Harris is all extreme. Oh, extreme. They go into the grocery store, they're like, extreme. They're like, extreme chips or extreme whatever, extreme soft drinks. I'm like, they're so stupid. But when I met you, you were like, not saying you're going to eat extreme chips or anything, but you're like, extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, I worked out and it was extreme. And it was like, I'm going to jump out of a plane and I'm going to hike in Hawaii and I almost fell. It was awesome. It's like, dude, you almost died.
All my stories have like I almost fell. I remember like, and I went hiking in Hawaii, and there's like a little trail like this wide, and then if you fall off the trail, it's like, poof.
Straight dive into
I was like,
oblivion.
And I slid down on the way down. I slid down because it's all muddy. And I slid down. I was like, I'm gonna die. And my leg got caught in there's a tree with a root that comes up like some roots come up like this, and the root was like this, and my leg went into where the root came up and got hung up on that, and I'm like
I know.
I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna die.
I'm not gonna die.
The tree saved me.
And did you jump out of a plane the following day? I don't know what day you did, but it's like ever since I met you, and then like later on when your body is like falling apart.
I thought you were going to say the Harold Kumar Go to White Castle, because Neil Patrick Harris has that episode where he's talking about the unicorns.
That maybe be something you could relate to. But no, when I first met you, I was like, this guy's like. Oh, it wasn't maybe him because he was kind of crazy, but not him. But there's some guys who are just like, oh, they're just like doing stupid ass shit. They have like a big ass truck and wearing stupid ass gear. It's kind of like, they look like they'd be on ESPN2 is like,
kind of a cross between that and Brick from Anchorman. Loud noises.
Loud noises.
I love Lamp. I love it.
There's some movie references that I just can't stop, because those movies right there I can't stop watching.
Oh my God,
hilarious.
they're amazing.
They're so stupid.
Idiocracy.
Oh my
God.
God.
My God. Every time I watch Idiocracy, I pick something new out of that.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Oh
I love
man.
it.
Though I had watched it again because it randomly. I subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah.
And not because I post podcasts on there, but I always have, because I hate watching the commercials.
I hate watching them.
I was like, that is worth $10 of my month. I have to watch nonstop YouTube without commercials, and I get free movies. What? Well, it just so happens Idiocracy is like a free movie almost every month.
And
I don't know why they cycle. They like when they're picking like the monthly movies. I was like, oh, here's a good one. Do we have like anything else we could just throw out there for free? It's like, give me Idiocracy again. Just throw it out there. Yeah, but oh my God, it's just amazing, and
it's just so stupid. It's so funny.
Oh, I got a good movie for you. I just watched it.
What was it?
It's really cool.
Okay.
It was right up my alley. I totally understood it because I know the history of it.
Okay.
And the ending of it was spot on. It's called Saturday Night. Think about what shows up that's called Saturday Night that we've talked about that. Hello, bitches. What did that come out on? Like, hey, bitches, what did that come out on?
That didn't come out from the skit, Saturday Night Live?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
You're talking about how they first came on and did their live show.
The very first episode. Yes.
Yes.
It's called Saturday Night. So we call it Saturday Night Live now. Maybe in the day they called it Saturday Night Live from New York. It's Saturday Night. I remember
seeing that, and I think I forgot about it, honestly.
And knowing that like Lorne Michaels was always the producer, and it was like, like knowing what I've known about the whole history, Eddie Murphy, like everybody, Chevy Chase and all of them, and watching that movie about like that very first episode coming out.
Dang,
like I was really into it. It was like to rent.
Raspberry.
Yeah, I'll take whatever.
Raspberry watermelon.
And so
Raspberry.
I was gonna watch the first. No, because like I could rent it for like $3.99 or buy it for $4.99. I was like, buy.
Bye.
And even the characters they casted, like I don't know who they casted to play Chevy Chase, look
Spot
good.
on, really?
Jim Belushi, look good. Like it was a good flick. So if there's a movie I would recommend to you that I think you would appreciate because
I
it's
like
called
their
Saturday
skits.
Night.
They're so silly.
It was legit.
Nice.
I like hands down. I recommend Saturday Night. I'm totally down with it. And The Exorcist, Pope's Exorcist.
Well, Saturday Night Live also kind of helps like pop culture. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that people will always get because there's a lot of. I mean, there's always that reference with The Man by the River. I
Yeah.
mean, you're like,
Dude, old
come
old
on,
school
those
pop
are-
culture.
it's
like
silly.
Steve
It's so
Martin
funny.
doing the
Yes.
Egyptian dance. Or Toon
Or,
Sister Driving Cat.
And remember, like when he did Ed Grimley.
Yes.
That
Dude.
when I was little, I don't know, maybe
Hans and Franz.
we're gonna pump you
Oh,
up.
or Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze
Oh my
do the
God.
Chippendales dance. And what's funny on that same Saturday night, Patrick Swayze was on Hans and Franz, and I don't remember which one it was, Hans or Phil Franz. He's all daydreaming about Patrick Swayze riding a horse with him. He's all holding Patrick Swayze, like, dude, talk about like classic pop culture of the time, like. And it's funny because I've looked up some of the old episodes from like the 70s, and some of them are funny, and some of them are like, that was funny back then. Because it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because like we're so far removed from it.
Well, because they told us it was bad.
I don't think
But
it.
then at the same time, it's kind of like
I don't think it was bad, but I think
we.
humor has changed.
Yes, but at the same time too, like we grew up on the cusp of like things that were super inappropriate that we thought were normal.
Phil Hart, Kevin Neely.
And then when we were told like that was bad, and then later on we're like, aha.
Okay.
And then
the
then
fact that we're sitting here and doing the skit with Chris Hemsworth, hey bitches. When we were little kids, and I think prior to like the 80s or 90s, you wouldn't say that like, right?
So casually like that?
Oh yeah. No. So it's definitely a sign of like I say, pop culture. How pop culture's changed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know.
There's a lot of, and it's fun that we are the generation that we are because like
we're fun. We're a fun generation.
we are also like stunted in growth. I'm just kidding. I mean, we're kind of like, we take care of business, but I don't know. I feel like I have a super twisted sense of humor, and either people are gonna get it or they're not, or they're gonna be like super offended and be like, "Wow, that was like." Not acceptable and like blah 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 blah. You know what? I'm just twisted.
Oh, I what's funny is when I'm having a serious talk with somebody, and they make a comment, and I sit there, I'm like, either trying not to laugh or something else pops in my mind, and I try not to laugh. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they'll be like, "What was that?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing."
Don't want to get in trouble. Don't want people to misunderstand me.
But
it's.
You think about all the generations, like, the greatest generation. Like, how cool is that? To be a part of like the generation that fought World War II and all that. And then they came back and they built America, the highways, the bridges, computers, and everything. And then you have like the hippie movement, like from the 60s to 70s.
People who were rebelling against
People that were rebelling.
Probably like what they thought
the
typical
civil
structure.
rights movement.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, to have the cojones, like, rightly so, but to have the cojones say, you know what, segregation and this and that, and like, no, we are the same, and like, you know what I mean? Like, to be able to do that, like, wow. And then going in the 90s, like, 99 red love balloons, but like, I always think about that song when I go look at the 90s, but like, how pop culture changed so much. And I would think of like how cool the 80s were.
How cool the 80s were because it was trying to break away. It was like being creative. And it was just, it was weird. It was about creativity. It was about like.
So much was happening.
And
like
then it was on the cusp. Rock. It was like the difference between like radio and TV. And I
Right.
remember when MTV first came out, and I was a
It
little
was
girl.
cool.
I loved MTV.
I remember watching before going to school, watching the commercial for MTV. Not the commercial, but when they did that thing with the rocket and the guy putting the MTV flag on the
Yes.
moon. How freaking cool is that?
And I was a little kid, and that was
Dude.
like a super. It was a super impressionable part of my life
Yeah.
because ever since I was little, I've loved music.
Yeah.
I love all music. I love it. It's like my favorite pastime.
It's weird
I
to think
need
like
music.
how we got from the 70s and 80s
Mm-hmm.
to the music we have now.
And I can appreciate it.
I appreciate it now. EDM and
yeah.
like I totally dig it, but it's like, how did we get from like 99 Red Left Blues or Gilbert, Alone Again Naturally? Do you like that? Alone Again. Yeah. Like you think about that, and how did we get to this like what the hell?
I don't know. And then it's kind of like a weird, like, if you, like, okay, you saw the 80s, we saw creativity, we saw music videos, creativity up the wall with videos. And then,
The Wall. Was it who did The Wall?
you're talking about
Pink Floyd, The Wall.
Oh. So, and then.
That is like the 80s right
and
there.
I think, like, music is super smart, too. Like,
Right.
create, like, music artists, words, lyrics, all of it. People are super smart just in a lyrical way.
You know, I bring Artie on.
Yeah.
And he fills me in with current pop culture.
He's very
Like, and we talk about
he educates me on stuff. Trust
wow,
me.
like, and maybe it's because I'm getting older. I don't know. I'm not as connected to pop culture, but when he starts talking about like P Diddy, what's going on with all that in Hollywood, like the whole Corey Haim thing, and like all the rumors of pedophilia, Hollywood, and we start talking about all that, and like how more stuff comes out. Justin Bieber's like, dude, like
he's
mind
pretty,
just blown.
I love the way he thinks, and honestly, we
Yeah.
probably need to come on like all three of us. It'd be fun.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
He's like my pop culture specialist.
He really is.
He really is.
And just because like he's like already like so, just his creativity, even him, acting and just really being interested in that. He's definitely a unique soul. I love hanging out with him. I love talking to him.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we can't have him on anytime soon. He's still in Texas.
Oh, I know.
I
Okay,
know. He's still in Texas.
Here's my joke about Artie.
Okay.
I don't know how much the guy works. I don't know how much the guy gets paid. It seems like he's never working,
Oh.
and it seems like he's always getting stuff. He's always vaping.
Ooh,
but
Artie's gonna come out
But
and like.
but he's always like traveling the world. It's like. Is he just slaying women and getting on a G6 and flying the world because he just has all the connections? Like, is he that hooked? Like,
he does have a very nomadic life, which I honestly
It's kind of cool.
I honestly I dig it. I am
I kind of
envious
think
of
about
it.
going back to that.
I'm envious of it. Oh,
Yeah.
and speaking of just like nomad life, kind of like on a sad but weird upbeat kind of note there, when I went to my friend's funeral in Taos,
Oh, yeah.
and just knowing
That's
I
99 sad red left balloons.
I know, but just kind of going out there and just realizing that I had been traveling to Taos to see my old college roommate, very good friend of mine, love her to death. And we were college roommates. She met someone out there, love of her life, married him.
Oh, awesome.
And I remember the day she told me she was like into him, and when she really showed interest in him, I remembered all of it. I remembered when they started dating, when we went to New Orleans for the first time, and he showed us around New Orleans. So I've been there throughout their meeting up to the day, unfortunately, his funeral. And then just going back to Taos, and like all of those trips I made to Taos, I had met all of these people. And I remember when I first went out to Taos, New Mexico, it was like the most glorious thing you could ever do, because listen, it's a small town, but the people you meet there are
Taos
really
is kind of like supposed to be a cool place.
they're seeking something, and
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, so Taos is expensive, and a lot of celebrities, some
Do they still
celebrities
have
have
that
moved out there.
big Buddha in downtown Taos?
I don't see the big Buddha.
Is it not there no more?
I don't see it, but
Yeah.
people who are from there, they get it. The mountain calls them, and I love it because I'd go to the ski valley and I would meet people, and a lot of people, like, they were basically living to ski, living to just be there. So they were, the people I ran into, the people I hung out with, they were like waitressing, they were bartenders, they were working at the ski valley, but they got discounts so they can ski because they love skiing.
Wow.
I mean, it's a way of life. And they would like struggle, but they were so happy because they were living their dream.
Yeah.
And that was just to enjoy life every single day.
That is
and
so
I remember
super interesting.
always thinking to myself, God, how could I like let go and just like accept that if I want to be here, I'm going to have to be super poor.
You know, it's funny because I wonder
trade-off was amazing.
How many people think about this. Like, look, I've been poor. I finally got a stable life, and I like going to be able to go in my garage and having my tools and having like, I'm gonna cut this wood and having like a really cool saw machine to cut it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna go weld two pieces of metal together, and I'm gonna go out in my truck. Like, it's cool to have that. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot something today. Which gun am I gonna take out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like,
Are
those
we-
things also tie you down.
But that's the thing though. Their quality of life is huge.
Different.
It's like so much better.
How much different would life be if, yeah, you don't have this stuff, you don't have the 85-inch TV, you don't have all this stuff, but if you want to go skiing tomorrow morning, you could, and that's what you want to do.
And you don't, and let's say you don't even have to work for 2 days or 3 days because you're not on the schedule. And maybe you may not have a lot of money, but you shack up with a bunch of roommates.
You hang out with them.
You hang out,
Yeah.
you get to know people, you live your life, you get to do what you want to do. Maybe you just, help each other out, lend a hand. So there is definitely a vibe there. And one of the guys that I had met early on when I started going to Taos, I had met him because he was a DJ at one of the bars, and my friend had introduced me to him.
Oh, Jeanette, I know where this story's going. I know where this story's going.
I know, right? But no, he ended up being a really cool dude, and nothing never happened. But he's an interesting dude. I always liked him. Every time I'd see him, it was just always good vibes. Loved it. Good people. Well, when I was at the funeral, and I was like, it was like a weird reunion for like the people I met throughout the whole time I'd been there.
You knew them all.
And I knew them, and they remembered me, and we had memories, and we talked about the times we hung out and like the things we did, and I realized I was more connected than I forgot about it, but we were more connected. I had years of experiences with these people, and I ran into him again, and he's still in Taos, and I never really heard his story before until he told me at the funeral, and he said that when he was living in New York. He was from like the Bronx or just somewhere, Brooklyn. He was from kind of one of those neighborhoods, not like Manhattan or anything.
Yeah.
So him and his dad and his family, when he was like in his 20s, came to Taos, New Mexico to go skiing.
Yeah.
And he said when he first went to the ski valley, he could not believe that a place like Taos, New Mexico existed. He was like, I can't believe this place exists. He's like, I was so like, how can I be here? How can I afford to be here? Because in his mind, he was like, you must have a lot of money. So as he started to talk to the locals when he was up at the ski valley, he come to find out that he's asking around, and they're like, dude, we don't have money. We're all broke. He's like,
it's weird. It's all everybody's
broke.
there broke. They're poor, but then you have like the random one or two, three people that come in, or like a small group of people with money. They develop their area.
Yeah, and they were like, he met people that like, we're broke, but the way we're able to live here is that we have, we rent places, we get roommates, and we get jobs at the ski valley, and we get discounts to ski, and we basically work to ski.
Wow.
He said that the very next day he applied for jobs at the ski valley. He got a job at a restaurant.
That's cool.
And him and his family, they're all getting ready to leave, and you're like, well, why aren't you packing your stuff? And he's like, oh, I'm not going. And his dad was like, what do you mean you're not going? And he's like, no, actually, I got a job. I'm staying.
What?
He said his dad had, for years, I guess, he was surprised that he did this because I guess apparently when he was in New York, he was not doing very well. He wasn't keeping jobs. He wasn't like being very responsible.
Yeah.
So he ended up working at the ski valley and he stayed for years. He's still there.
What?
And when his dad had died and he went for the funeral, his uncles were like, yeah, your dad thought you were going to come running home and say that your dream had failed. And he's like, well, that's what kept me here. It was like, I didn't want to go home and tell my dad didn't.
That's amazing.
That I didn't make it. He's like, so that's why I hustled. That's why I became a DJ, and this is why I worked. And he's moved on. He has a family. He's married, has a family.
That's amazing.
And it's amazing. And I was like, holy cow.
That reminds me of
it's an amazing thing.
Two things, I guess. Well, when I first went skydiving was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It was like the most perfect skydive, falling through the clouds and seeing the crystal clear, like not crystal clear, but like the blue water. Like skydiving in Oahu was the perfect place to like get my first jump. And the guy for some reason he reminded me of Jack Johnson so much.
Yeah.
And I asked him like, how'd you do? Like, where are you from? How'd you get into this? He goes, well, we were from San Francisco. And he goes, there's this famous place that rock climbers go rock climbing, like a cliff over the ocean. And he says, I just got into climbing. I was always climbing high stuff, so I got into rock climbing. And so I just started rock climbing. And, I just like going up stuff that's like really high. And he's like, then one day I started skydiving. And I really liked it. So I started skydiving. And I told my wife we're going to leave everything in San Francisco.
And just do this.
And just do skydiving and get the license and go skydiving in Hawaii. And he says, the owner treats us good. He helps us out. And we have everything we need. We're raising our kids here. And I was like, dude, what a beautiful way of life. And he says that I get a skydive for free because I'm an instructor.
And, and that's the thing to me, that's super bravery.
Hey, that's brave. Especially if you're already married with kids.
And because that's a bigger responsibility.
Oh, dude.
If you mess up and you're ruining your life, that's
Hawaii.
Okay.
Hawaii's not cheap, first of all.
No.
So, that was amazing. Like, I fell in love with that idea. Then it was funny that you mentioned Taos because I've been reading a lot of history and a lot about northern New Mexico. I think about like Taos in northern New Mexico because it gets cold in the winter, like Colorado cold. And then it gets hot in the summer, like New Mexico hot. And, Pueblo Indians used to live in there because it's called the Taos Pueblo. Mm-hmm. And then the Indians, this is interesting. So that's on the Camino de Real. You're going up from Mexico City to Santa Fe. And then from Santa Fe it goes up to Colorado because there's silver mines up there.
Yeah.
And I was reading this one passage about a town called Socorro, New Mexico.
Okay.
And what's interesting about Socorro, New Mexico is it wasn't called Socorro. It was called, I think, San Martin Pueblo or something like that.
Yeah.
After like the local church. And the Pueblo uprising, all the people started fleeing south. Like the Pueblo Indians, they had enough of the Spaniards. They're killing everybody, and they revolted. All the Indian tribes got together and revolted. And I was reading this newspaper article from like the 1700s, and it's talking about what had happened in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. Like, and so the New Mexico Pueblo. The Pueblo uprising. I'm not even sure what year that was. So just to give you an idea, because we're talking about like United States 1786 or something like that. Mm-hmm. You're talking. Okay, here it is. Was it 1680? That's like 400 years ago. That's like 100 years. That's almost 200 years before the founding of the United States. Do you know what I mean?
But the Pueblo Indians have been here way before
that.
So yeah, I mean, I believe it.
But 1680, so the Spaniards were here. They uprised and they're killing. So this newspaper article is from the 1700s, recounting this history. So it's already like over 100 years old.
Wow.
And it's talking about how the people from the north were going south. And this is not like, let me jump in my Ford and go down I-25.
People from the north were going south. So people like from
Santa Fe, Albuquerque.
Yeah, we're coming
Yeah,
up here.
and they're going down the
down
Camino
here.
Real,
Yeah.
which the Camino Real actually follows I-25 pretty well,
Yeah.
like really well. But it's not a paved highway. You're like, big
course.
stones and all that, and like it's rough going. But they're fleeing the Indians, and the Indians are raiding them as they're fleeing south, and people are dying along the way. So then they get to a little town called, and I have to look this up too, and I'll be able to tell you in a minute. But they get to this little town that has a church, and the church is called, I want to say it's San Martin. No, San Miguel. San Miguel.
Oh, our San Miguel over here?
No, it's San Miguel Church in Socorro, New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
So it was like the Pueblo of San Miguel or something like that back then, before it got its name of Socorro.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody goes to Socorro, and they're there at the church, and they build like a the old San Miguel mission. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
And so they build fortifications to defend themselves, and all the people came to Socorro for relief, to flee the Pueblo Indians.
Yeah.
And the reason I was reading this is because there's a legend of buried treasure in Socorro, Mexico, where they're like, we're going to be overran by the Pueblo Indians, so let's just bury everything. Let's bury our bells. Let's bury the gold. And let's flee to El Paso, Texas.
That's why you want to go metal detecting over there.
Well, I don't know where to look. I was looking at, I mean, who knows where it is? They talk about where it's at, all that. So Socorro from El Paso is like 3 hours driving.
Yeah.
So imagine by horse and draw carriage, you're talking like a week's journey, and you're running for your life from Socorro, New Mexico to El Paso, Texas, over rough terrain. No, not a.
I would take the back end.
But
there's
how
no back
it's all dirt roads though.
Or it's all
You're
dirt
talking
and
about
sand because there's still white sand.
1600s. Like it's in the
white sands are
1600s.
still there, but
So even if it took you 100 years a week to get there, even if you went the back way through white sands, there's no water. So if it's going to take you a week in that heat.
I was going to say it's hot, and then around Socorro, Carrizozo, there's a lava flow. So there's a lot of
the Badlands.
So
that's what they call them. The Badlands. So you're thinking about in today's context. We have a car, takes an hour, 2 hours to get there.
No, it's going to be hard.
Think about like in 400 years ago by horse and buggy, and if all the water you carried on you, like a little jug of water you carried on you to last you a week. If you found the water hole,
there's not a water hole
there's one in
White
Upham
Sands.
that they would stop out
Yeah?
the Camino Real. So then Socorro, everybody escaped to Socorro for relief before they escaped to El Paso. Well, the San Miguel mission was renamed Socorro because Socorro in Spanish means relief. It was the town of relief when they were fleeing the Pueblo Indians.
Oh, interesting. I did not know. Socorro is really the Spanish term for relief?
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. And so a lot of the people that fled San Miguel,
yeah,
they fled. When they get to El Paso, they settle in Socorro, Texas, just south of El Paso.
Weird.
So they established Socorro there in Isleta.
Yeah.
Because it was a relief. That's where they called home after they fled from.
Well, I'm glad you said relief because now we're going to have to take a break.
Okay.
I need to relief.
Game off.
Game off.
I find myself
like wanting to buy
enthralled at the concept that tights keep you warm.
Like
I want to know the science behind that. The mechanic.
Why
Why do tights keep you warm, Jeanette? I need to know. Like America wants to know, how do tights work?
I guess they maybe suppress the goosebumps. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Tricks your body.
As Wayne and Garth would say, game
on. Game on.
Oh my God. So, yeah, don't get me binging on that random history that's all old school there, because you don't know where I'll end up. Ooh. I know, dude. I mean, about the history.
Because it is very interesting, and because we get to see it, and the land isn't like super developed in New Mexico, so like when
it's
you
beautiful.
Go to like and get to be on the Camino Real, it's not you're gonna see history come to life because it's not that developed.
It's weird because you see history come to life because you go out there, but you're still in the convenience of a vehicle going 60 miles per hour down a dirt road, and it takes you an hour to get 60 miles away. Whereas in those days, go 60 miles would take you 2 to 3 days.
Even going through the Badlands. Did you say the Badlands? Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, the Badlands is on the other side of the mountains.
You get to see all that lava, the lava flow where it.
So you had to make it through White Sands to Alamogordo, and I need to figure out the history of Alamogordo because it is so random out there.
It is random out there. But you know what? You can really see that history will come to life if anyone gets the chance to go to the Trinity site. Open twice a year. I've been once. And it's usually open in October or in the spring. And I've been in the spring. It's not changed. There's still... you can see where the blast was so hot and it heated the sand. There's glass shards out there. There's glass pieces. Wow. If you go out there, they tell you do not take anything.
How much did you steal? Or you can't say because it's a federal crime.
You can't take anything. You can't take rocks. You can't take sand because
Jeanette
it's still
did not steal glass from Trinity site.
Don't take anything. It's radioactive.
She is pleading the fifth. She is not denying or agreeing to any of the allegations.
And you know it's crazy. You go and you're on this road. You're going to Socorro, New Mexico. You turn on San Antonio, that little town right before.
Yeah.
So you go and you're heading east, and you pass that little gas station and the place where they have the best New Mexico burger, the Owl or whatever that place is.
Well, there's the Owl, but then there's another place just past that one that has really great burgers too. The Buckhorn.
The Buckhorn.
Oh.
So you pass both those places, and both of them have an amazing green chili cheeseburger, hatch green chili.
Amazing.
Pass them, and then you're on this road, and you're going through. It seems pretty clear and rural, and then you start to see the mountains. But right before you get to the mountains, there's just a bend. And the only reason I was able to find where the Trinity site was obviously GPS. But there was a group of picketers right at the main street. There's just people who've had, it's like the descendants of the original owners of land who are out there. Right. They are definitely just still picketing the fact that the government tested the atomic bomb out in those areas, and that... So
they're upset that
they're still upset.
Not because the government took the land for this testing ground, but because they tested the bomb.
Well, the fact that it's their land it's still not... You can't
go
grow anything. You can't raise cattle. You can't grow anything. The land is just bad.
So here's what's crazy about the Trinity site and this atomic bomb in New Mexico. So it's surprising, and it surprised me how many people still don't know that the Manhattan Project was in New Mexico, Los Lunas. Federal government carved out this little piece of land and said, we're going to put a lab here and do this work on this.
They created a whole town.
They created a whole town.
Los Alamos Labs.
Out of
Los
nothing.
Alamos, yeah.
Just on this theoretical idea that they could create this crazy weapon based on this crazy energy that was kind of like magic. This whole idea that one little thing that you can't even see, but if you split it, it's going to create tons of energy, right? Which they came up with this idea, right? So they came up with the idea of the bomb. Mm-hmm. And they put pen to paper. They even came up with a design, like they engineered it and everything. You're going to have to test it. You can't not put so much, everybody, Einstein, Oppenheimer, everybody knew about these ideas and all that. Eventually, you're going to have to test your ideas. And even if it's in the form of a bomb, it got tested. Yeah. So, and I've listened to these people talk about, I was watching the Sum of All Fears. And when they're talking about, the missile attacks, and, in the Sum of All Fears, the Russian president says, you're going to lecture me on a nuclear bomb after Hiroshima and Nagasaki? And I was like, I think about that because that comes up now. It's like, when people talk about the horrors that the United States did, it's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki was a different time. You're talking about a really brutal war which people wanted to just be undone. They wanted the war to end.
Well, and I think that, yeah, definitely that was a power move, clearly. A power move. I mean, that was exactly what it was. They needed something to show force to end the war.
To end the war. It was like
It was a show of force.
I think it wasn't a show of force. It was a forceful move, right? It wasn't
Totally.
like
No,
it wasn't
it
me
was-
like saying like, "Hey, here's a picture of my bomb. Show of force. I'm gonna fly my bombers over so you can see my cool bombers." That's a show of force. But to actually
is like-
drop them, that is a forceful action. And
It was definitely something that was
The-
unique to World
that
War
period of
II
time.
because, I mean, you talk about like Pearl Harbor and
okay,
what got
in
us into the war.
World War II. At that point, you're talking like 90 million people already dead. And if the Allies invaded mainland Japan, because Okinawa was already so bad, but had we invaded mainland Japan, you were looking at over 1 million casualties. Over 1 million, just dead.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's easy for us now with our mindset to look back and be like, hey, why did we do that? It was a horrible thing. But you think about it, like, okay, we end the war immediately, or we're going to throw another 1 million bodies, and no telling how many more civilians are going to die, and it's absolutely brutality. So this is our option to end it fast, or we drag it out for more years.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I always hate this argument of like, oh, United States is terrible. No, it's terrible. It's easy for us to look back and judge the past through our eyes now, through the lenses of today.
Well, what are we gonna do now today? Are we gonna like cycle? I'm sorry. Oh,
Cool.
sorry, I was gonna be all mean. Are we gonna like put them in a corner and have like a quiet room and like put our enemies? You know, I mean, it's like right now, there's a lot of good and bad thing that has happened throughout history, and the things that we got to see. Just because maybe I'm still like rough around the edges, I get so impatient with people. I'm like, just make a decision, make it happen. And there's a lot of good things which I've actually kind of learned from having to be patient, having to be understanding. Also, like getting over like generational. I think you can. I don't know what it is.
It's like generational sin.
Exactly,
The
and
thing
like
you
getting
carry
over.
from one generation to
It's
the
starting
next.
to like question what our grandparents did, our parents did, even questioning ourselves, because why do I think this way? And just really starting to realize that we need to be better to our people, to our
Yeah.
neighbors,
Yeah.
our to the community. And I love
It's
there's
like,
a lot of good
if
stuff
you want to
that's
make
happened.
change, do it now in your community, in your world. Like, you can't change what happened in 1940.
But there's a lot of things that I still worry though, because it's like right now, and I don't know, maybe this is kind of moving away from that. We're talking about war.
good.
We're talking about some things that we've, you know, the moves that our grandparents or great grandparents had to make,
Yeah.
and some of the horrors that they had to witness.
Oh, I know.
But at the same time, it's like now are we ready to make powerful moves? Are we ready to make decisions like this
Dude.
based on like
You had Russia threatening nuclear strikes like a month or two ago.
you see, this is how much I don't keep up with this.
Like, with everything going on, like, one of the big things that happened a couple of months back was
But why are we
Biden-
not talking about like with social media and how things have changed about like
Yeah.
when Ukraine, you know, when Russia was trying to invade Ukraine, and like you have a new generation of like 20-year-olds trying to fight other people, and they're like, why?
Yeah.
It's like questioning, and that's a good thing.
Let
You
me,
should question.
let me give
what
you a
we're
really
doing.
good example about this. So you have China.
Yeah.
China's like, so I think theoretically we could say we are probably in a new Cold War with China. We're in a trade war, and with the new presidential administration coming in, they're ready to take off the kid glove. And in terms of this trade war, they're going to go all out with China, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's the whole thing with like the Panama Canal, Greenland, like all this stuff that he's talking about now.
Why he wants to like take ownership of it.
A lot of it has to do with the Chinese threat. Mm-hmm. There should be no such thing as a Chinese threat, but it exists.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's
Taiwan.
It's definitely existed for a while here.
And they're facing it. And I'll give you another example of the Chinese threat. Arkansas passed legislation this past year that made it illegal for Chinese entities to own farmland in China, or not Arkansas. You have states recognizing, they're like the third state, I think, to pass that legislation to recognize that China as an entity, the country as an entity, is buying up the farmland in the United States with some sort of intent, and so they're outlawing that and making it, and they're making it so that it's illegal for this country to buy land in your state.
How weird, because like you were starting to see. Wow, you're right. It is a Cold War. It hasn't officially been said in the papers or anything, but there's definitely
there's
balloons,
a legitimate
there's
an arms race.
And not only last year, was it last year? They're talking about the spy balloons.
Yes, last year they let them go over the United States, and they said, "Well, we can't shoot them down. We don't know where they're going to land. They might hurt somebody." But you're letting them go over the whole United States.
I know.
The entirety of the United States is not populated, and there's a lot of funny stuff going on with China and Chinese influences and Chinese money and Chinese this and Chinese that. Chinese stealing intellectual property. Like, have you ever been to that website, Vivo? You can buy really cool stuff on there.
I haven't. I've actually heard of it, but I've never bought anything. It's like a different version of like Alibaba or Ali, you know that website? Yeah.
AliExpress. It's a Chinese company. Well, this Vivo, they sell a lot of stuff. They sell everything. Everything.
Yeah.
You want to buy a snowboard, you can probably buy it on there. You want to buy tires, you can probably buy it on there. And a lot of those inventions come out of China. A lot of the things they sell come out of China, and they're pretty spot on for things that are trademarked in America. But they don't care. They see what we have, and they remake it in China, and they resell it. Like the United States, we have really strict trademark laws and patent laws and all that stuff. They don't care. They get the idea of that. They replicate it and they sell it.
That's really weird because, like, well, I don't think that it helps for people to not buy it if our economy is the way it is and everything is more expensive.
But you can buy it dirt cheap over there, though.
Exactly, and that's what people want. And I think that's why people like want to buy from Shein and Temu.
Right,
and
it's dirt cheap. They can get it, and it's a very American the way it looks and everything.
And then there's the rumors.
Yeah.
Social media has the rumors. Well, if you buy from Shein or Temu, what was the last one? It was actually kind of circulated. It might come with spiders, or it might come with this, or it might come with that.
Just because one person has one bad experience doesn't mean everybody is. And if you're talking about, let's talk about spiders. If we're talking about shipping, big warehouses, there are spiders. It doesn't mean people are intentionally putting spiders in.
You can't find that with your Amazon package.
But if Shein is sending out 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 boxes a day, chances are a spider crawled into one of them. Did
I send you that SNL skit with like Jake Gyllenhaal where it's like Shimu? It's not Temu or Shein, it's Shimu.
I think you did, but I don't think I got it. But now that you tell me that, it makes sense.
It freaking cracks me up. It's so hilarious.
That makes total sense.
But I mean, it's like it's been out there. The propaganda is out there. I'm saying the propaganda. You may not recognize it. It's out there. People are sharing it. People think it's funny. People are like, so they're spreading the fear. You know?
We're in 2025. We're starting 2025. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yay.
So, and for people like me and you, that you're surviving, you're getting your check, you're trying to enjoy life, trying to enjoy time with your family. Nobody wants to care about what's going on in China. You buy a T-shirt from China, you buy some tights, you buy lights or a bookshelf from China. It's like, cool, it's cheap, whatever, right? And you don't really think about the big picture of what's going on. And
you don't, because people are thinking...
And why? Why? You just want to survive, right?
You want to survive, and people are thinking about their own experience in this economy. They want to buy stuff for cheap.
So China, like the Silk Road has it been mildly successful, but not entirely successful, where they're trying to do the Belt and Road Initiative? Haven't been as successful as they wanted. They're trying to beat us. They beat us to see the south pole of the moon. They landed on the backside. So they're trying to excel. They built a bigger navy. They got more ships on the ocean in the United States, but they're tiny. They're not really like good ships. But their technology is getting better and better. They want to take over Taiwan. Why? Because that piece of dirt was they based their land claims based on the last Chinese dynasty that existed. And they say that island was a part of the last Chinese dynasty that existed, so therefore it's a part of our empire. Now it should be a part of our.
And we're not.
But Taiwan makes the most microchips and semiconductors in the world in Taiwan.
So it looks like a freaking power move, oppressive.
Yes. We're gonna oppress.
Take you over.
We're gonna take you over because we rightly have ownership of that land. But by doing that, we're also gonna have all the computer chips in the world too.
Do you really think that they would even want that piece of land if they were like?
If it was a bunch of cavemen
failing.
Fishing on the shore, they wouldn't care.
If it was like a third world country,
if
they
it was
wouldn't
like
even care.
the slums of Mexico, they don't care. But the fact that it's makes the most microchips and semiconductors in the world, they need it, and they have to have it.
Now, if they were producing the most drugs, illegal drugs, do you think they'd still want it? Probably, you think?
Hell, China's a contributor to the most illegal drugs created.
What if it was contributing to like the most amount of like herpes cases?
Oh, I know,
Yes,
right? They'd be like,
maybe, they can create
it's a part of us, but we don't really need to go there. We're good.
Just throwing it out there, throwing out the worst case scenario.
Here's something I want you to think about. It's called 996, and let me just look this up. It's in China. It's called 996, and what's happening? There's been a lot going on. Hold on. I gotta look up the word because I just had this. I just had this. Let me see if I can look it up. Let me think. What is it called? Oh, I know what to look up. So in China, there's this thing called the 996. What do you think that 996 means? What am I referring to? While I look this up, look up the Chinese word that I'm looking for.
996.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. I found the word. You lost your time.
Damn it. Okay.
So there's this movement in China called the Bailan. It's like called the Bailan movement.
Okay.
And Bailan in the Chinese means let it rot.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Let it rot. So how does it pertain to Taiwan?
So you have to understand. Well, it's kind of China as a whole, and you have to understand China as a whole. Chinese Communist Party came into power after World War II, when they kicked out the emperor's forces or the it was the communists versus the Chinese Party or whoever it was, and the Chinese Republic forces, whatever, and they took over China. Then they went over the Cultural Revolution. They started building mega cities. China went through a process of moving everybody from the farmlands to the cities.
Okay.
And you're talking about millions of people. It's like moving all the people from the inside of the United States to like LA and New York. Do you know what I mean? Forcibly moving them. And they start forcing Chinese communist policy, forcing people into work in the cities and build cities. Then you came across one-child policy, which ended, and they went to two-child policy, and that I think is kind of officially ended. And China's playing catch-up with the United States in terms of technology and GDP and all that stuff. And what the Chinese people were doing to the Chinese people is you're supposed to work a reasonable amount of hours.
Yeah.
United States 40, probably was like 50, 60 up there.
Yeah.
But you're expected to do more, and it's called the 996. So what it is in China, they work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week.
Oh, wow.
And you have a younger generation now that's like, what in the hell are we doing this for?
Exactly.
What are we doing? What are we getting out of this? And so in China, you have people that are doing this byline kind of protest. Well, they're just doing sit-ins or they're at work and they all just lay their heads down because they're like, why are we killing ourselves? Why? And they're like, oh, this doesn't get done. Let it rot. That's where the saying comes.
Oh.
Oh, we're not going to build this building. Let it rot.
It almost comes down to like we were talking about earlier. It's like, why are we like finding it? Everyone's trying to find their own freedom. Everyone's trying to find their own quality of life and
And
realize that
everybody
those things are
and
not
people
important.
deserve it.
But the thing about the things about like we can cut ourselves off at the end of the day and say, you know what? Maybe it's okay for me to hold off on this one bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna go enjoy myself. But for them, it's like
let's
a
talk about
government.
China.
Yeah, it's
You
a
had
government
people.
thing.
You had people. Okay, so Christianity persecuted
Yeah.
in China, right?
Yeah.
The Falun Gong people highly persecuted, right? The Uyghurs, the Muslims, the ethnic group, the Uyghurs, putting in concentration camps and tortured and re-educated and all that, highly persecuted. So you have in China all these different, because China's a big landmass, persecuting all the people. You're going to believe in the state. You're going to believe in the state religion and do all this. You're not allowed to do all this. Not only that, you're going to work your life to death. And not only that, if you're a male, which there's like tons of villages with a bunch of males and not enough women because of the one-child policy.
Dude, that's like asking for a woman to. I swear to God, that's like a woman's gonna get day raped. She's
imagine
gonna
if
get
there's like
raped.
10. There's a city full of women and there's only 2 guys. How many women are not going to have a boyfriend?
Well, how many women are gonna just agree to share him?
Well, okay, so that it's in China.
us. That's
In
what's gonna end
China,
up happening.
that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Because there's some villages have so many men, and so few women or no women because of one-child policy. Everybody wanted a son,
Yeah.
so there's not enough women. So and China right now is the perfect storm ready to happen. So you have the last 3 decades, 4 decades of the one child, the two child policy. And so everybody, like, they're saying, oh, they're killing the little girls and go adopt a little Chinese girl and all that because otherwise they would have killed it because they can't have more than 2 kids and they wanted little boys. So now you have all these men.
And I realized that I've seen a documentary on how like there's just not enough women.
Right.
For like all these single dudes.
Right.
And
Right.
they just want to get married and have
And
girlfriends.
the story goes deeper than that. But so
It's terrible.
now you have all these Chinese population that's getting older. You don't have enough kids entering the workforce to support the aging population. So
Yeah.
you have a negative growth rate. You have an imploding population census kind of deal. What happens is you're not creating enough tax money to support the older people that they're aging. They need medical help. You don't have enough people to take care of them.
Hey,
And
I
then-
just
oh, I'm
realized
sorry.
something.
Huh.
We can be like in super government now. We could be government leaders.
You and I
Yeah, because like how often do we like deal with this stuff?
all the time.
I mean, we're like therapists.
I know.
We're like
Oh my God.
coming up with all of these
Employees and all that.
plans.
Oh,
But let's just put it on a bigger scale. Like, how are we going to fix this? Okay, you go.
well,
Just continue your story, and then we're going to figure out how we're going to fix it.
So-
How would you fix this?
I know, right?
And there's no right or wrong, clearly.
Like, China wants to be a big player on the international level since after like the Boxer rebellion,
Okay.
right? So they've been trying so hard, and they were a big country on the international level, but now you have the Communist Party. They're really trying to make their place in the world forcefully, and when they did the Cultural Revolution, they moved all these people to the cities, and millions of people died. I don't know, somewhere 100, if not more than 100 million people died during the Cultural Revolution. Imagine that. Your government is changing policy and changing the way people live and the way people do everything. That 100 million people die.
That's crazy.
Either through starvation or they're killed because they wouldn't accept this new governmental policy of communism and all that. I mean,
This is where I think stubbornness as a dictatorship, as a communist party will like fail you, because if you're trying to like have a show of force,
Yeah.
and if you're trying to punish people for not following your lead and you're not listening, then you're just going to destroy yourself.
Oh, absolutely,
You're
right?
destroying yourself. What
So-
are you doing?
So, our state, New
Yeah.
Mexico, population in New Mexico in 2023, the last census, was 2 million, over 2 million people. So
Okay.
you're talking 50 states of New Mexico. Yeah, 2 into 100, 50. So you're talking the complete population, 50 of our states died during this cultural revolution towards communism. Everybody. Like, can you imagine every man, woman, and child in our state dead times 50 more of our states?
Holy crap.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we don't think about it in the context of, like, you just don't think about that number. But you're talking about everybody in our state died during the Cultural Revolution 50 times over.
Wow.
Like, it's a bigger number you can think. Can you imagine 50 copies of yourself?
Just dying. All
at once.
epically dying.
Like, it's just a big number to comprehend, right? When was the last
Yes.
time you're in a building when there's 50 people there? Much less 100 people, 1,000 people. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
On a given day, our
100
building may have like
30,
maybe, yeah, because it's
40?
like, yeah.
much less 100 million people. Okay,
That's a
so Cultural
lot.
Revolution. So then they do all this stuff, and they have the real estate boom, and their banks are making money, and they're doing loans, and yet people that came from the country to build all these skyscrapers, but nobody's buying the apartments and the skyscrapers because nobody could afford it, and B, China's effectively built more housing than there is enough for the people of China.
Wow.
So now China's going through like a real estate bubble. It's just starting. They're expecting like the Chinese real estate market to crash. You're having people that are just kind of fed up with this 996 life work. This whole work environment's getting ready to crash. You have the government, the Chinese government party that's saying like, Jesus, should we invade Taiwan now before the next president comes in and tries to stop us? And so they're trying to patrol Taiwan and cut off all shipping traffic to Taiwan right now. They're talking about like doing an actual invasion, so they're actually talking about boots on the ground. You know what I mean? It's like a perfect storm of everything. You had this one Chinese virus called COVID. Now there's a new Chinese virus coming out that they're not a respiratory virus, they're not sure about. And then on top of that, you have an aging population that you can't support because you have more people aging out of the workforce that can actually work anymore.
It's a perfect shitstorm.
It's a perfect shitstorm. And at this whole time, they're aiming all their efforts at the United States because they're like, oh, you guys are the big kids on the block. We want to knock you off your podium. Why? You know what I mean? United States didn't become the big kid on the block because we wanted to push everybody around. The United States is founded on liberty and freedom and letting people be able to go work and make money and be successful. That's the United States. Capitalism, United States.
Yeah.
What you earn is yours. If you can go buy a piece of land and you can farm it, it's yours, and you can raise your family, and so long as you don't go kill your neighbor and go kick your dog and
So basically, we've earned the rights to be our own asshole.
No,
We've earned the right to be an asshole.
And the United States, you didn't earn the rights. And the United States says it is your God-given right to be an asshole.
You know what? And I love it, and I appreciate it, and I'm so happy we do have that right.
There's a difference.
But
Though. There's a difference in what
yeah.
you just said, though. You didn't earn the right to be an asshole.
We were
The United
given.
States says it is inherently your right as a human being that is living and breathing. If you want to be an asshole today, that you have every right to do so.
Yeah, and that is.
And so long as you're not going and kicking the neighbor's dog, you can be the asshole all you want.
Yeah, pretty much that's our social experiment, and we are who we are.
But
and
it's
you know
made
what,
us
though?
wildly successful. That's why people here have become successful. That's why they've created capital, they create businesses, they've created technology, and things have excelled because you have the right to do so, and we're not going to stop you from doing it.
Yeah, it's true.
Unless you live in California.
Well, poor. They're just losing their homes right and left.
No,
at
the
this point.
government, Gavin Newsom. Legislation that they passed. Hell, people were leaving California so much, they passed a tax resolution saying, we're going to tax you if you leave California. If you sell your house to leave out of state, you're going to pay an additional tax for leaving California. So now they're going to charge you for leaving the state.
That's wild. I'm so happy I never moved there.
I know, but so that's why I say except California. The rest of the country is doing well, or it's getting back on track, but this is the Chinese threat that we're dealing with. And if you couple it with other stuff going on in the world right now, like let's take Mexico, for instance. Why is Chinese companies knowingly sending Mexican cartel individuals, families, whatever you want to call them, why are they sending them precursors to make fentanyl if you know that's exactly what it's used for? They're not sending it to the hospital. Yeah. They're not sending it to the manufacturer. They're selling it to cartels, which is a pretty easy distinction. Oh, Jeanette, who do you work for? Do you work for Pfizer? No. Oh, okay. Do you work for Johnson & Johnson? No. Okay, but you want to buy these precursors for fentanyl? Oh, you're paying cash? I'm good. Go for it. And when you make your fentanyl, you're going to ship it to the United States? Perfect. You know, buy one, get one free. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, how else are they going to penetrate the U.S. market where everything's being legal? Marijuana is stupid at this point. It's legal. It's not even a big thing. It's cocaine, fentanyl, narcotics. Come on.
Fentanyl's a big one.
Fentanyl's a huge one right now.
So you're trying to help the Mexican cartels make money by poisoning America from within.
True.
And this is where things get weird. Why is our government not doing something about it? Like, you know what's funny? When I was young, I grew up with this whole idea: put up the border, keep the Mexicans out. Why the hell they want to come here? Come legally.
Yeah.
Like when I was a young man, I was one of those young men that says, crazy Mexicans want to cross our border. Get your papers to work and come legally or go home. Like I was one of those young men.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of young men go that when you're going through that age. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten older and I've traveled a little bit and I've gotten to meet some people and all that. It's like, you know, you got families that want to make a living for other families and they see the benefits of living here. Listen, Mexico is a very socialist country. Socialism is the path that leads to communism. Mm-hmm. So Mexico government has gone from socialist to much more socialist now. That's the route it's gone. And I've talked to people from Mexico that come and go, and even my friends, you know, gets mad when I say it, but it's because it's true. But Mexico is very socialist, and it's headed down a bad path. But as I've gotten older, I realize, yeah, I get why people want to come here to work. They want to work. There's legit people that want to come work.
And there's just a lot of
they want to try to provide for the kids.
Yeah, it really comes down to just the individual. It's not about what Mexico represents as a whole and their ideals, because that's not who the people are. That's what their government says. When you start to talk to people individually, everyone has their own story, and it really comes down to survival.
It does.
It's always going to be survival.
It really does.
Like, how am I going to make ends meet? So Mexican people
they're normal human beings like you and me.
And they're very innovative in a lot of ways. Try to create something from nothing.
So in Mexico, I think you get to the 7th or 8th grade free public education, and if you want to, what is it, 7 or 8? Do you remember?
For my dad's generation, it was the 3rd grade.
Okay, and so if you wanted to go to public school and graduate with like a high school degree, like prepa, I think it's called prepa. If you wanted to go to get a high school degree, the family had to pay for it.
Yep.
The family had to pay for it, and hey, United States doesn't have a perfect educational system, but you will get to high school and it's free of charge.
And you will get through all of your And it's amazing because during the time when you're in high school, you're like, why do I have to go to school? And what we don't realize is education is a gift.
It's a gift.
And the fact that we're not even using it wisely.
That's right.
Is stupid. It's
stupid. But the point being is, we're next door to a country where, no, I don't blame people for taking the risk of walking days through a desert to get here, where they can send their kids to go get a free education, and while they're there, they're going to get fed. They're going to get their lunch and they're going to get their breakfast, or breakfast and lunch. You know what I mean? They're going to get that. So and I have a problem with all this, because I get the people wanting to come here for work, but then when you couple it like, why the hell is the Mexican government knowingly letting China bring chemicals to create harsh drugs that are going to kill America?
Because I don't think that the Mexican government has control over the cartels. It's always been in cahoots. It's like Colombia.
I think
it's always been.
Colombia successful.
Well,
Colombia has moved past the Civil War. They're fighting the coke dealers. Their people have money and are working. Mexico is on the verge of being a failed state.
Well, the thing about it is, Colombia had that battle early before. They've had that where cartels were trying to, like, you're talking about like Pablo Escobar, who was like trying to like control government, trying to run for government.
He was overthrown. But Pablo Escobar was one individual that was making a lot of drugs. He tried to get involved in politics. The politics pushed back against him.
It failed. It was a failure.
But they had their civil war, and you had the communist forces fighting the democratic forces, and the communist forces to make money for their to arm themselves. They were selling cocaine.
I also think that Mexico right now is that they're still. It's just corrupt. It's corrupt.
It's
super corrupt.
It's a failed state.
And
it's like,
and when it is safe, it's because it's the government. I don't feel like the government has control of the country.
Why do you think the government not let people have guns? They don't do it for security. They do it because they can control the people.
Well, the thing about it is, people want to advance. People want to be able to afford things. They want to be able to like succeed. They want to be able to have like.
But here's the deal in Mexico, and so there was a girl in my life. She left Mexico because her town was overrun by the next drug gang. So you have drug gangs overrunning towns, taking over the towns.
And then when your government, your local government, your city government,
they can't do anything about it. And then again, you're not armed, so you don't have anything to do about it. You can't do anything about it. It's not like I could go like with all the neighborhood guys to be like, hey, we're gonna stand up, we're gonna fight these people because this is our families. They can't. They don't. It's illegal to have guns.
Mexico's wonderful. It's beautiful. It's super
great
shady.
People, beautiful people.
It's super shady
beautiful culture.
If you get involved in the wrong.
It's a failed state. The federal government in Mexico has no control.
No, it doesn't.
You know why the federal government is having control? Because they're in cahoots with the cartels and everybody else.
Yes, I do believe that
too.
The
people there are in power because they want to make money too from everybody they can.
I don't know anybody who hasn't been to Mexico that I know of who has not had to buy off the police. Well, in my freaking 20s, early 20s, just traveling through, got a traffic ticket, but going the same speed as everyone else.
Did you give him a 20? I wasn't show him a 20. I mean, gave him a 20.
And you know, before going and traveling to Mexico, like road trip into Mexico. Yeah. Back when I was an idiot kid in my 20s.
Wait, whoa! I find it hard to believe that you're an idiot kid, Jeanette.
I was an idiot kid because
you
I didn't know.
were not.
But no, I kind of was. But just believing the world, believing the world's wholesome. Can't believe anything's gonna happen. Yeah. You're naive. You're just naive.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad telling me, like, mija, like, you go into Mexico, if they try to pump your gas, you get out.
Don't be a puta.
Like, don't be a puta. I was kidding.
Whoa,
I was with my boyfriend at the time, and we were traveling to go visit his family. So I was not being a puta.
Talk about one of those words that we say now pretty.
I know. Puta.
pretty nonchalant versus like 10 years ago, I guess,
I know,
right?
right? We can say it now. So
I mean,
don't be offended.
I
It's
do.
normal now. It's normal. It's okay. It's like same bitch.
Wow.
But
Wow.
anyway, but
Ay,
he
Dios
would
de mi
he
vida.
would tell me like, hide your money. If you're traveling with money,
I always had the rule of thumb
like
that you
a
put
little bit of money in
in your wallet and put the rest in your sock.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we would do that, and we did that, and thank God that maybe I paid out like $20 for a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
That apparently, if you ask, oh no, you can pay me now. You don't have to go to court. It's all good.
Did I ever
Settle
tell
it
you
right
about
now.
my DUI experience? Not DUI experience, but we were at the feria and the cop stops us, and he we're asking for directions, and he asks, "Have you guys been drinking?" We're like, "Drinking? No, we haven't been drinking." And he says, "I want you to breathe here."
Oh.
And he doesn't have a machine. He just makes a hole in his hand like this, and he holds it at his side. He goes, "Breathe in my hand."
Well,
breathe
thank
in my
God
hand."
it was just
But
his hand.
do you know why he's telling you to breathe in there?
Yeah, because he's gonna make it up.
No, he wants you to shove a 20 in his hand.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I thought he was being shady and like putting it around his. You know.
Yeah. And so we're saying, oh, there's the main highway, right? We could just leave there. And he's trying to divert us through a shady neighborhood.
Oh shit.
And we were like, that's a shady neighborhood. And we just left. He was trying to shake us down. And if he couldn't shake us down, he was going to send us down to the neighborhood to get shaken down.
Well, and that's the thing. When I was younger, I only put 20 in my wallet, and that's what
No, I
he
used to
took.
do the same thing too.
And then also you get down because over there at the time, like it was the old gas station stuff where you
Yeah.
had to like put the numbers back to 0 and make sure that they weren't trying to charge you double because they didn't wind back the numbers to 0.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to get down and get out and be like, oh, sí, you know, try
Great,
to
yeah.
finagle my Spanish. Oh, no, sí, ¿por qué no está cero? Okay.
Why buy pump star to get $10?
I know, why, ¿por qué está $10?
No, kind of going back to what we're saying, like this is a message I really reiterate
Yeah.
to whoever will listen to me and whoever wants to fight me on it. And it's a good message for 2025 is we're very blessed to be in the country we're in.
Oh, totally.
America has been the beacon of liberty, and people can say what they want, whether it's Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, it doesn't matter what protest or what you're doing, protesting a trendy site. America has been the beacon of liberty since we've became a country, and we continue to do so to be a beacon of liberty in the sense that you could come here, you can speak your mind without having to worry to go to prison. You get to work and do whatever work you want to do and support your family. And you're not forced to go fight in a war. You don't want to fight to be, cannon fodder or anything like that. It's still a great country. And that's a really good note to start the new year on is like we're blessed. We have really diverse neighbors that we friends and neighbors that we grew up with that we know. We're blessed to be in this great country where we have so many opportunities. Doesn't matter your education level. If
Yeah.
you're willing to work, you can do it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you don't have to worry about being put to work at the end of a gunpoint or your life being ended or something, or having to wake up and go pick chili in the morning or something. Like
and honestly,
it's a blessing to be here.
You can choose your path.
You can choose your path. You really can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's 100% blessing. It really is, And I think I don't know if we lose sight of that. Maybe we do. I don't know.
Maybe we just take it for granted, and
Maybe we
like,
take it for granted.
And I
You're right.
don't think that other people realize what it's taken to be here, and it may not be perfect. No one said it was gonna be.
Yeah.
No one ever said it was, and there's gonna be a lot of challenges, and no one's ever gonna feel 100% happy. You can't make.
Yeah.
One policy will never make 100% happiness for anybody. And for those who experience racial injustice, I'm sorry. I hope we get there. I really hope that we get there.
Yeah.
But we still have the path to make it better.
I have an interesting story.
We have the path to make it better.
We were
though.
buying shoes at a local store,
Mm-hmm.
and I meet this guy, and he's very, very Caucasian, and he has a bit of an accent. And I said, "You have a twinge of an accent on you. Where are you from, man?" And he goes, "I'm from New Orleans." And I go,
Oh,
I go,
Yes.
beautiful city. I love New Orleans. And he goes, well, thank you.
My favorite place.
And I said, I happened to be in one of those rickshaws, one of those bicycle carriages, and the bike rider was from Santa Fe. And he starts laughing. Really? I go, yeah. And he goes, yeah, that sounds about right for New Orleans. And I said, yeah, the person I was with was commented, because she's not from here, and she says, wow, interesting. We always hear how racist America is, but you come to New Orleans and you have every kind of person here standing on the street waiting for the parade, having a good time. I go, that's America. That is truly America. And so me and him were talking, and I told him that story, and he goes, yeah, that's New Orleans. He goes, and he says, New Orleans is considered a deep South. New Orleans, Mississippi, Savannah, and all that.
It's had a very rough
Rough history.
Yeah.
We don't think about it this day and age, and he says, but there are still some places in the deep South you go into, you don't talk that way because it's still, there's little pockets of racism all throughout the deep South. You might be in a place because you might be in a place like in New Orleans that's more progressive and everybody goes to and they visit and Mardi Gras and everything, but you go 10 minutes outside there and you find yourself in a neighborhood that's really racist.
I believe it.
It was just kind of interesting hearing that from somebody from New Orleans. I was like, how interesting, how cool is that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I totally believe that.
That was kind of cool.
The South is unpredictable.
But it's kind of the tapestry that makes us who we are.
Yeah.
We're getting past it. Okay. So we're kind of in the game right now.
Okay.
We're kind of in the game.
Okay.
We're podcasting away here in Mark and Jeanette fashion, having a couple of drinks. I don't think we're slurring yet.
Not yet. It could happen though. I mean, I'm on the verge, but I also have to pee though.
Whoa!
I'm still feeling it though. I'm sorry, I do. I'm gonna say it.
Okay. We're gonna do a game off real fast.
Yes, but I feel like we can still continue.
When you come back for game on.
Yeah.
Being that this is the New Year's episode, let's talk a little bit about New Year's.
Oh.
Okay.
I like that segue. Maybe we needed that break.
Yeah. Okay. Game off.
Game off.
Game off.
Game off.
I have been fortunate to find my pink lemonade tequila.
Your what?
Pink lemonade tequila.
Is that the one we
Yes.
put in drinks?
Oh, yeah. Oh. I'm going to get fancy. So, game on.
Game on.
Game on.
That is amazing.
On the same day, on this same day, all these events happened.
On the same day, okay.
Okay, in this day in history. And I was just looking this up in the book you gave me. And, I'm going through the wild hair of all the dates I know. So, Henry Hudson arrives in Manhattan in 1609, and he goes up the river, which now bears his name, the Hudson.
The Hudson River?
Yeah. The British are victorious at the Battle of Brandywine, and in a battle with George Washington and the Continental Army, and almost destroyed the Continental Army in 1777. In 1847, "Oh, Susanna" is performed for the first time in a tavern in Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, like 90 years ago. This one's interesting. In 1857, Mormon settlers massacre 120 pioneers in Mountain Meadows, Utah, as they were passing through.
Weird.
Freaking Mormons. Don't mean to offend any of my Mormon listeners.
We just lost the Mormon population.
We just lost one person. Dang. No.
No.
In 1903, the Milwaukee Mile opens at the Wisconsin State Fair. It's the oldest motor speedway in the world. In 1945, former Japanese Prime Minister Hideki Tojo attempts suicide following the surrender to the Allies after World War II when the Japanese surrendered.
Attempts suicide, so he didn't succeed.
No.
He failed.
I know, right?
Sorry.
In 1973, Augusto Pinochet overthrows Salvador Allende in Chile, becomes the Pinochet backed by the CIA, seizes power. Okay, so in 1985, Pete Rose breaks a record for the most career hits in baseball on this day, this specific day I'm looking at.
How weird. What a cool day it feels like.
1997, the Mars Global Surveyor reaches the red planet, and for the next 4 years maps the red planet. On this day I'm looking at.
1996.
And in 2001, on this day, Terrorists affiliated with Al Qaeda hijacked 4 planes in the United States, crashing 2 into the north and south towers of the World Trade Center and a third into the Pentagon on 9/11.
Wow.
Like, mind blown. That was interesting, huh?
Yeah.
And like a lot's happened on that day.
But you know what's curious about this whole thing is that every single day was monumental in history.
Oh, whoa. Look at this. I just thought about this right now.
Every single day. There was nothing.
Did you see a connection there from the start to end? What was the first event? And I know there's been a lot of 9/11s the day, September 11th, in the life of the
There
world.
was a lot of...
But in 1609, Henry Hudson arrives at Manhattan Island, meets its inhabitants, and the next day he begins sailing up the river that bears his name. On Manhattan Island in
You're talking about all of this...
1609 on 9/11.
Are we talking about, like, the place
And then
in
in
history?
2001 on 9/11, terrorist attack Manhattan in 9/11. Weird. Like when I closed the book, I was like, I gotta reopen it. What the hell?
So when people look about what happened today, like today was, we didn't talk about that. Today, Jimmy Carter's, it was a national day of like
Mourning.
What, mourning?
Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah.
He was at one point considered the worst president in the history of the United States, which now he can rest in peace knowing, and it's probably why he passed away. He will no longer be the worst president in history, as he was now replaced by President Joe Biden. You know, Joe Biden. You know what? Thank you, Joe Biden. Jimmy Carter can rest in peace. Thank you.
Finally.
You know what? This perfect public service announcement was brought to you by Marcus Yu. Okay, so New Year's. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
If I can figure out how to put fireworks in the background, I will.
No, not like the other day where we decided to see what text effects could happen.
So,
That was amazing.
let's see here. Oops, that's from a picture. Let's see. Did you know?
Oh, no. Tell me.
I hate how they changed BC to BCE.
I don't like that either.
Because BCE means before Common Era, and BC means before Christ.
Mm-hmm. It's always going to be after Christ.
After death and before
After
Christ.
death and before Christ.
Do you know why BC is important? A, it's from zero going backwards, right?
Yes.
Who developed the mathematics and came up with the Julian calendar?
Talking about the Romans.
No, the Catholic Church
The
did.
Catholic Church? I was like, why is...
The
I don't know
Catholic
history like
Church.
you.
The Catholic Church was the one that did the math and the science to figure out how many days it took the Earth to go around the sun, including leap year, down to like within minutes.
So where are you getting at?
It's just weird that because of politically correctness of the past 8 years or so, we've changed it to BC versus BCE.
So...
Or we've changed it to
okay,
BCE.
so why are we changing it to BCE? Who said we had to change
Because somebody out there in the community said, like, well, why are we calling it before Christ? Why does it have to be so religious about
Well,
Christ?
why do we have to worry about, like, hurting people's feelings?
It's
You know, that's just
in
historically...
in my lexicon, it's still BC.
In my mind, it's always going to be BC.
But
Before Christ.
it's in my
after death.
A, because of my religious context before Christ, yes. B, because I've always grown up knowing it before Christ. But I also like the fact that it's BC, giving recognition to the institution that calculated the year and the years to be so accurate, which goes back to the Catholic Church.
The reality is, if we keep changing it, I kind of feel like this
You're
is
gonna
what
lose history.
Yes, you lose its history, and this is how you keep changing history. If you keep
You
changing
can't
the
change
narrative,
history. You can't change history.
yeah, but people
It
will
happened.
go
It is what it
back.
is.
People will go back and try to change the narrative.
Idiocracy all over again.
Well, yeah, and
We're gonna start feeding the plants outside Gatorade.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I've never been a history person. You know where I lose interest? All of it, except for American history.
I'll talk your ear off about
I know,
Texas
and
history.
and I've learned so much from you. But you know what? I do have.
Uh-huh.
I do have a very good comprehension of American history. I love American history. How we came to where we're at. But because, like, and then when you start to think about, like, your ancestors and where you originally from,
I
then
am
you start
not
to
made
seek.
from ants.
Huh?
I am not made from ants.
I didn't think you were.
Okay, I don't know why you would suggest I was.
No, but, no. European history is so old, I cannot.
Dude, you're European.
European history. World history is so just.
I don't have anything to go with world history.
Yeah, it's just so much.
Okay.
I there's different times that speak to me.
That's
There's
where
different
it's at.
times that
good Lord, that's good.
there's different times that I understand different things, but it's just a lot. So I stick to what I know is important to me.
That movie, Along Came Polly, with Ben Stiller.
Yes.
Who plays Ben Stiller's boss?
Oh, I don't know.
Not like he says mazel mazel. Good stuff.
Who is
Mazel
that?
mazel.
Along Came Polly.
Along
Was that
Came-
Jennifer
he,
Aniston and Ben Stiller.
Yeah, but the guy that plays his boss,
Who was that?
jeez.
I like how he was like, what was he like?
He's always having he's
risk,
always wearing glasses and he's talking up in the bathroom and he smacks Ben Stiller in the butt and Ben Stiller being the guy he is, he's all freaking out about it. He's like, oh my god. You know what I mean? Hold on. Just different edification. Alec Baldwin. And he says mazel mazel.
So are we on the same page, or just like the fact that if we keep changing terms and I mean whether it's right or wrong,
history
cannot,
is yes, whether it's right or wrong,
and it's
history's
not.
happened.
It doesn't have to be politically correct. Let's just call it what
You
our ancestors called it, so
we
we
can
can just
have
have a grasp of the
the
timeline.
rose-colored glasses all you want today, but history, it's been done and you can't unwrite it.
Exactly.
It's written.
Just call it what it was.
And you know what? History has been tragic and it's been violent for the vast majority of the people.
And honestly, like, don't retell it. Let it be gross in
Let
all of its.
let it be gross.
Let it
Yes.
let it be as gross as it needs to be.
Within
call it what it is.
Within the horror, you have the
I agree.
you have the
I agree.
racism.
Yes.
You have the genocide. You have the brutality and the massacres. You have the rape.
We need to look
You have-
ugly in the face in
you
order
have-
for us to evolve.
It has happened.
It has to be ugly.
And you know what? It happened side by side by the heroes, by the martyrs.
Yeah.
Everybody that has stood up for the right of man and defended his neighbor, that has happened side by side by the horror, and you cannot remove that from our past. It's what has created humanity as a whole. Because I don't know why in the United States we come up with like, oh, the United States is bad. Oh, really? China didn't lose 100 million people due to the Cultural Revolution? Genghis Khan didn't kill millions of people.
Yes,
the Romans, the
America's bad, but
Egyptians.
we're still a new nation when you think about it.
We are a very new
We're
nation.
a very new nation. So let us
250 years?
let us figure our shit out.
So
But we need to figure our shit out.
But we are not any worse than the last culture. Alexander the Great killed a lot of innocent people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, America is very messy. It's very gross in the fact that the way
Charlemagne killed a lot of innocent people. The
But-
Aztecs, and I say the Aztecs because a lot of people that are Mexicans are like, oh, we're Aztec, we're Mexican. Aztecs killed a lot of innocent people brutally for sacrifice to the sun god. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like history has just been brutal. And for people to be here like, oh, America is slavery. Slavery has been there for eons before America came. It's been in Africa. It's been in the Middle East. It's been in China. It's been in Russia. It's been in Europe. It's been in Mexico. And just because when the United States was founded, slavery existed, doesn't mean we're the worst people. Every region of the world has dealt with it.
Well, there's always been slaves. There's
There's
always
been-
been slaves. Whether
It
doesn't matter.
There's still slaves this day and age.
There's still human trafficking going on.
This day and age.
I mean, I'm not saying
Where's the outcry over that? Where's the outcry?
Slavery has been
There's still
all over. It's been in
there's
history
still
throughout.
child sex slave trade going on right now.
And what's
Children.
coming out? What's coming out is okay. So what's
Jesus
coming out
Christ.
is ugly. But I have to say that one thing I'm
What do you have to
happy
say?
that is coming out
What do you
is
have to say?
people's intolerance towards it. And
Yes.
it's like the intolerance that we're building for it because it's been going on hush hush. And then when it comes out, there's been a lot of brave people who've been bringing it out.
And you know what?
And the intolerance
God
that's
bless
building.
Corey Haim for saying what he said when he was brutalized growing up as a child actor. Because he was right all along.
He was. And there's a
People-
lot of celebrities that have
People
been
thought
right.
he was crazy, but Corey Haim,
Yeah.
like he committed suicide, didn't he?
Yes.
God bless that guy.
He was in one of the
When he was in
80s
Goonies,
actors.
God, when he
Oh.
was in his Goonies, he was glorious.
Him and Corey Feldman. Oh my gosh, I loved
Corey Feldman.
I loved The Lost
Josh
Boys.
Brolin.
The Lost
Goonies. The Lost Boys.
They were
Oh,
both in
man.
The Lost Boys.
So, Jeanette,
Yes.
do you know...
The Muffin Man?
I do know the Muffin Man. Do you know when one of the earliest known recorded New Year festival dates was recorded?
Oh, wait. If you're saying one of the New Year's,
Yeah, the earliest known New Year celebrations. How long ago was it recorded?
are we talking about the Christian calendar that you just... Are we talking about the Christian... Are we talking about the Catholics? Are we talking about the Catholics just basically... Are we talking...
I'll give you a hint.
What?
It predates the Christian calendar.
Well, if we're talking... If we're like living on the Christian...
I'm gonna get drunk with my friends on old anxiety.
Okay, I don't even know the language.
So-
What's the language on that one?
In
And-
in Mesopotamia,
Okay.
and more in Babylon, the New Year, which is known as Akatu, began the new moon after the vernal equinox in Assyria, with the new moon nearest the autumn equinox mid-September, 2,000 years before Christ.
I
They
feel like...
celebrated New Year's. So 2,000. So we're in 20. So 4,000 years ago, they were celebrating the New Year's, except it was in mid-September, based on the new moon in kind of the place around Babylon, Assyria, in the Middle East. Everything's in the Middle East. I don't get it. Maybe it's the cradle of civilization. 4,000 years ago, they were watching the ball drop, and hookers were getting crazy. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Hookers were running wild.
Hookers were running wild. For the
Okay.
the Egyptians and the Phoenicians, the year began. The year began with the autumn equinox in September. The ancient Persians, it began with the vernal equinox in March 21st, so that's the springtime. For the Greek, it began with the winter solstice in December, and the Roman Republican calendar began in March 1st, but after 150 BC, the official date was January 1st, which is continued on the Julian calendar of 46 BC. So it's weird. What's weird, I guess my takeaway about that is they've been celebrating New Year's for a long time, but it's based on the moon cycle. The moon, the vernal equinox,
It's all based on the fact that...
the winter solstice.
Yeah.
It's like weird. It's like it's all based on like moon cycles. Like do you know what the New Year is? What is the New Year? Like, do you know what it is? Not
don't...
feelings, not new beginnings.
No.
What is the New Year? Like
I always thought it was
in a
like-
very
In
scientific
a very
speak.
basic way.
Yes.
In a very basic way.
What is the New Year?
Well, so not knowing much about the New Year, if I'm looking at, like, I'm a barbarian, and I'm thinking that...
You don't even have to be a barbarian. You could be Jeanette today, not Jeanette the barbarian. What is the New Year?
The The New Year is where I'm probably resetting my calendar.
Nope.
No?
You know, you know what the New Year is? You know what the New Year is? I'm going to tell you.
Wait,
I'm going to tell you.
No. The New Year is about where the position of the sun is. If I'm a barbarian and I have like a pole in my yard and I'm looking, that's my calendar. Because based on the sun and cycle, because I mean we
You're
all know
kind of
this.
right.
We all know this.
I think you're about half right. I don't know about the pole in the ground if you're a barbarian.
So
I mean, if you're a barbarian and you're wearing a lion's cloth and you just club to death a saber-toothed tiger,
you don't have to
tiger.
Be,
whoa,
you don't have to
whoa,
be super
Jeanette.
crazy to realize that.
Jeanette's going caveman crazy.
The winter times, the days are
No.
shorter.
You know what the New Year is? The New Year is the time it took for the Earth to start right here.
Well, no shit.
And go all the way around the sun and return back to its starting position.
Exactly, but
There
has to be like
a starting point.
Exactly, and that could be like a pole in the yard, and that could be like where the direction of where, or the days, the sun.
To make it as simple as possible.
Okay.
It's as simple as possible. It's the time it took the Earth to start here, all the way around and complete one full revolution.
It takes a year for the sun to revolve. It takes a year for the sun.
365 days plus so many hours
for the Earth to revolve around the sun.
Once.
That's
and when you get back to the starting place, it's the New Year.
Yes, it is a year.
So we are celebrating the fact that we went around the sun once.
Yay!
We won the race.
True, it is. It takes
my Earth drove a Mario Kart around the sun and beat your Earth.
Well, wait, how many people do not know that it takes a year for the Earth? I thought this was common knowledge.
I don't know, but it's kind of an interesting idea. If you break it down to basic common knowledge, one year is just the time it took for the Earth to go around the sun once.
It takes a year.
And if you lived on any other planet, New Year's would be different because it takes a different amount of time for you to travel around the sun.
Depending on distance from your place.
The speed of the planet and all that stuff. I mean, Pluto travels around the sun once every like 900 years or something like that. Something ridiculous.
Yes. And then you have the moon.
Mercury travels around the sun like every 28 days or something like that?
Yeah.
Right?
So I mean, it really is based on science.
But us as human beings, we have this innate calling to get drunk, to get a hooker, to blow little horns and celebrate and get drunk and be like, Happy New Year. You know what I mean? Like it's something innate that human beings felt like we had to celebrate 4,000 years ago before we knew. Maybe they knew. I don't know. I don't like. What would somebody think 4,000 years ago?
I just kind of feel like our lives are just as small as a fly.
Whoa.
I mean, like honestly,
a fly only lives like 2 weeks.
I know, and we're just really that small when you're thinking about like the lifespan of a fly is like very significant in their minds.
You know what?
It's their lifespan. It was maybe super fulfilling, and I hope in those 2 weeks it was super fulfilling.
If there's 52 weeks in a year, and a fly only lives 2 weeks, they're only living 0.038% of the year.
Well, how confusing it is for them.
Bomb drop.
How confusing it is for them, because you're talking about like in different planets, like this is where I think we're living in Adam's body, and we're helping him by drinking alcohol. This is where I think we're going to call our universe Adam, because I love it. I don't know why, it just comes to me.
Why can't we just call it the universe?
Can we not call it Adam?
Call it whatever you want.
I mean, we're Adams, but okay.
Atoms, not like the person Adam, but
yeah,
like
but
Adam.
It actually is a name, so Adam too. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. But okay, so like in our mind, it takes like. Damn it!
You're losing it.
I know.
Okay, in medieval times, in most of Christian Europe, New Year's was celebrated March 25th, the Feast of the Annunciation, and correlated with the church as the beginning of the new year. Although New Year's Day was observed on December 25th for Anglo-Saxon England, William the Conqueror decreed the year begin January 1st. England later joined Christendom and adopted March 25th. The Gregorian calendar, adopted in 1582 by the Roman Catholic Church, restored to January 1st, the New Year's Day. And most European countries follow suit, like Scotland, Germany, and Denmark. England celebrated January 1st as New Year's in 1752, and Russia in 1918. They were the last ones to join the party.
Really?
That's the information I found, and it's fun. Here's what kind of caught my attention. What's that? What the hell? Why did it take so like? Why was it so difficult for people to come up with this consensus of like this is New Year's? Do you know what I mean? Like, the United States is 50 states. Imagine every state saying, "No, this is New Year's. No, this is New Year's. No, this is New Year's." You know what I mean? Like, why was it such a difficult thing? I don't get it. I don't.
It's probably all based on okay, so it's not about public education. Clearly, we've already crossed it off the.
But this is before public common education.
Honestly, like, education is tied into religion for history.
Okay, well, maybe.
So,
yeah.
like, if I think that a lot of the times our history books are based on like religious, I don't know, documentation, Bible, whatever doctrine.
Well, you know,
is out
the
there.
Jewish New Year begins on Rosh Hashanah on the day of the month of Tishri, falls on September 6th and October 5th. The Muslim calendar has a 354 days in each year, with the New Year beginning on the month of Muharram.
Is it really surprising
Like,
that each religion has their own?
Every Zoroastrian celebrated on Cultural New Year in Iran and other parts of the Middle East, and the New Year falls on Nowruz. Chinese New Year is officially celebrated for a month beginning in late January or February. Okay, so you still see religious influences?
I really do think that historically, religion has always influenced the history of what they're going to share to their people. And obviously, like, as people separate and like they just get like disenchanted with their religion and build new ones. They're going to try to tell their truth in that
I think
religion.
we all need to be Japanese. The New Year holiday,
honestly, like, for real.
Shogatsu, is a 3-day celebration from January 1st to January 3rd.
I don't think that
Well, I think we should
I
have
don't
3
think
days
we.
off.
But you know what's weird about it?
Tell me what's weird.
We're all celebrating like this religious holiday mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Say that again.
Why?
Why what?
Why are people celebrating Christmas?
It's a very Christian ideal.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a Christian ideal, but why? Because my dad, I'm not religious, and you know this.
Oh,
But my
I think
dad.
you are.
No, I'm not.
You're a closet Christian.
No.
Maybe 2 closets in with the shoes.
But no, like, it's interesting because like
Christian
Christmas is the idea.
has become a very fundamental holiday for our country.
Christmas is the idea of like the birth of Christ, right?
And it's
Of
called
Jesus.
the season of peace, the season of giving, the season of love.
But-
It's very interesting but it's based on the birth of our Savior.
Exactly.
Which we know probably didn't happen in December.
Exactly.
But for some reason it's on December now. But I think the overall idea behind it and the overall concept of like we should be kinder and caring, and this idea of unselfishly giving on
So
Christmas
think about
is kind of a nice thing though.
It is nice. It is. And think about like different. Okay, so like it's interesting having a sister living in a different country because like
Oh,
my
okay.
parents will forget or
They
before,
forget her.
They
She
for,
doesn't-
no no
she
no
doesn't
no,
get a
no.
Christmas present.
They forget that Thanksgiving is an American holiday. It's not a European holiday.
They don't celebrate Thanksgiving in
No, exactly, exactly. And when my sister moved to Germany, they would forget. Oh, well, what do you do for Thanksgiving? And it's like, well, we don't celebrate
Nine.
Thanksgiving. No, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Germany because this is an American holiday.
Thanksgiving
I
night.
know. So exactly. So like we forget.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know.
You don't
but
think
it's
about
true.
that.
You don't think about that. So we're like,
But we talked about this on our Christmas episode that Christmas is pretty universally accepted as December, although Santa has many different forms, and even like in Europe and Germany, there's Santa in addition to Krampus.
So the point I'm trying to make is
What's the
that
point you're trying to make?
the point I'm trying to make is that okay, so although from other non-religious groups, Christmas has almost become um, a marketing holiday. No matter it's an American.
I still like this
I
whole
like the
idea.
idea. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to be religious to enjoy
A
Christmas.
lot of people still get into what they call the Christmas spirit,
Exactly.
and there is a certain. I think what's funny is I think Black Friday and Christmas shopping has toned down a little bit
It has.
because for a while there, Black Fridays were nuts.
Exactly, but I think COVID maybe had something to do
Maybe
with that.
COVID did.
I think that
But-
changed happened with COVID.
But I tend to think that people did get nicer.
They do get nicer, and this is why it's enjoyable. But historically, Christmas is a religious holiday.
You're correct.
Not a lot of people are religious. But
Mm-hmm.
this is where I think that history gets lost. And I think that as we tell it,
Mm-hmm.
even now, and 100, 200 years from now, it's going to get lost. And people may be like, well, like, in this, it's weird.
I think the concept
It gets lost.
of
Everything's going to get lost.
Christmas and what it represents in terms of peace and giving with each other.
It's going to change.
I-
The narrative's going to change.
I think it's gonna hold. I think it's gonna prove the test of time.
Yeah?
Because every now and then when I get into my grumpy, what do you call the green guy?
Oh, the
Grinchy.
The Grinch.
When I always think of the song. He's a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
And, so, in
But
this,
whenever I get in my Grinchy mood,
yeah.
you kind of just go out and see and watch for a while, and you still see people.
I love this time of year. People are so nice.
They still
And people want to talk.
they take the time to visit and
they
give.
want to connect. Even at
Yes.
the grocery store. Here in New Mexico,
So
I mean, that's the way it is.
think
People
it's
talk to
become
people.
such a worldwide phenomena.
Yeah.
I think it's going to hold the test of time.
So here's an interesting thing.
What's it?
So when you think about like, just kind of like putting it out there.
Put it out there, Jeanette.
Okay, so like if it's a religious holiday and
Uh-huh.
it started from being like Christian and realizing that the Savior was born, blah 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 blah, and like, isn't it weird how this time of year can tie in to people who are not from just even different religious backgrounds that people recognize? Yeah, okay. But isn't it weird how it can like tie a whole group of people together?
Mm-hmm.
Is it maybe like, could be like possibly like what it was intended for, regardless of your religious nature? I don't know, and that's the magic of Christmas.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, hopeful.
you could take it a step deeper.
Could we go deep?
If you want to talk about
Go
Christmas,
deeper in this.
Christmas as it relates to Jesus,
Yes.
and Christmas
Is that the message?
it really brings all the cultures together, right?
Yes,
It doesn't matter,
and
it doesn't matter where you're from.
Exactly.
Everybody wants to get into the spirit of the season, and then you have this guy named Jesus.
Yes.
And I say non-sarcastically because
Yeah,
if
no,
he
I
is
know.
indeed the Son of God,
Because
and
not everyone's
man
going to
on
believe
earth,
this.
if he is indeed
Exactly.
like God on earth as a man, then he's this guy. And he's going around and telling people like, hey, everybody can be saved. It doesn't matter if you're Jewish. Because in those days, the Jewish only believe the Jewish can be saved. But it could be you if you're a Gentile. Gentiles being non-believers that are non-Jewish. He said, and this guy Jesus going around saying like, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter who your parents are. It doesn't matter what you believe in for.
Yeah.
If you accept now, you can be saved as well. So it's funny that he was all accepting of you, regardless if you were Jew or Gentile. It doesn't matter with Christmas if you are Jew or Gentile during Christmas. Christmas is something that it's wonderful to celebrate because it's still the Christmas spirit amongst the different people of different cultures.
And I'm so happy that you said it personally because I got your Grinch little.
Oh, shut up! I hate you.
I
Okay,
love it.
so New Year's, like the icons of New Year's, if you kind of remember like the old like pictures and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's as much now, but the New Year was always represented by a baby, and the old year, December, is represented by like an old man.
Yeah.
So the New Year was always. You ever see that like on the pictures, like growing up, like the New Year was like a baby, like 1999, the baby.
Yeah.
Then like so, it's funny. So that's kind of a common theme in New Year's in all cultures, but January comes gets its, it's a Roman name that gets its name from the god Janus.
Oh, weird.
Janus, January.
Okay.
The god Janus had two faces, one looking backwards and the other forward. It's an interesting correlation, right? New Year, Janus looking forward, one face looking forward and one face looking back. Um, yeah. Um, and so yeah, so that's just kind of just some of the basic roots of of New Year's and some of the early stuff. The practice of making resolutions, rid oneself of bad habits, and adopt better ones also date to ancient times, going back to Babylonian times. Early resolutions to crave favor with the gods. Um, oh, look at this. The early resolutions were likely made in an attempt to crave favor with the gods. In the West, particularly in English-speaking countries, the nostalgic Scottish ballad "Auld Lang Syne," revised by the poet Robert Burns, is often sung on New Year's. Auld Lang Syne,
I love
my
that
friend.
song. Honestly, I
Auld
love it.
Lang Syne. I
Yeah.
didn't realize that was a Scottish song.
I didn't know that either.
Okay. Um, let's see here. I have some notes here, a couple of things. Um, symbolic foods. A part of many Europeans eat cabbage, other greens, for prosperity in the new year. Um, American South favor black-eyed peas for good luck. Southern Indian, a special culinary preparation called ugadi pashabi means multiple flavors for people eating different tastes. More sweet or bitter flavors considered indicative of the year to come. In Asia, then throughout Asia, special foods like dumplings, noodles, rice cakes, elaborate dishes, whatnot. Because of the belief that what you do on the first day of the year foretells how your year will be. The gathering of friends and have been significant. You know that it'll be like a good year by bringing your loved ones in. So that's kind of like the big thing with like doing some of these things. The first day of the year
Oh.
was gonna set the tone for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I can see
Um,
that. Okay.
when do you think Times Square Big Apple came from?
The Big Apple, huh?
Yeah, a Big Apple. What do you think happened there?
I thought I knew this answer, but I actually do not.
Um, let's see. The first Rose Bowl game was played in Pasadena, California, January 1st,
The
1902.
Rose Bowl. Okay.
Yeah. Where is this one?
Why
Uh,
is it called the Big Apple, actually?
let's see. Here it is. So that was some random notes there.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna get into the Big Apple one.
Okay.
So this is an article I wrote, and it was 23 New Year's Eve traditions from around the world.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into all of them in detail. I got a couple of them, but in the United States, watching the ball drop, the Big Apple. Okay, so a lot of people go to America, watch TV on streets of Times Square, freezing temperatures, to watch the balls drop at the stroke of midnight each year. It started off in 1907 to ring in 1908. New York Times owner Adolph Ox, I guess as they say, created the countdown event in New York City to draw attention to the New York Times new headquarters. And it's been an annual spectacle and one of the most popular New Year's Eve celebrations in America ever since.
And just out of curiosity, I'm asking you,
Yeah.
do you want to be in Times Square during the winter?
I would love to be in Times Square during
Really?
New Year's.
Really?
I would really love to be there for at least one year. Of all the years I've gone down there, which have been many
Yeah.
times now, I've yet to do it, and I've always wanted to. But I'm kind of curious, and I'm going to Google this. Um, uh, uh, why is the Big Apple called the Big Apple? It originated in 1920, referring to the prizes known as Big Apples awarded in numerous racing courses in and around New York City. And here's something called, here's like a picture of an article around the Big Apple. The Big Apple, the dream of every lad that ever threw a leg over the thoroughbred, and the goal of the horseman, there's only one Big Apple. That's New York. So New York is called the Big Apple because that's what they called the big race, like the big prize. The Big Apple.
The Big Apple.
In 1920s. Hey there, they're all here to win the Big Apple.
That's really weird, though. And no,
And the name stuck, the Big Apple.
well, it's not weird. I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's kind of curious. I mean, since you said that, why is it called the Big Apple? It's like it got it from
But
the horse
say
races.
The horse races.
Yeah.
But it's really kind of weird because, like, the Kentucky Derby, and if you're looking at, like,
It's called the Big Orange.
it's not called the
I mean, the Big
The
Pear. I don't know.
The Kentucky Derby has, like, it has, okay, so there's the Kentucky Derby, obviously, in, like, Louisville, Kentucky, and then there's, like, Preakness Stakes.
the
Preakness
big Louisville Slugger.
Preakness Stakes. Okay, so Kentucky Derby takes usually place the first weekend in, shut up, the first weekend in May. I love the Derby. Shut your
I know
face.
you do.
I love the Derby. It's like, shut your face. Okay, so there's the Kentucky Derby in Louisville, Kentucky. And then there's the Preakness Stakes that usually takes place in Maryland. And then there's the Belmont. That's a Triple Crown. Triple Crown. And it takes place in New York. But actually this last year it didn't happen. When you went to New York, I asked you, you're there? I was so excited for you because I thought you were there for the Belmont Stakes. Of course you weren't there for the Belmont
Had
Stakes.
I known, I would have gone. But I did go to New York was the Bowling Greens.
It's okay
and
because
I rode
they changed the
fish
location.
Caravel.
It was not in 2024.
I was in the fish caravel in Bowling Greens when I went to New York. And you know what's interesting about Bowling Greens, New York?
Anyway, just to be clear, Belmont Stakes was not in New York. It was at Saratoga.
Oh, okay, that's in a different part of New York.
But
I could've taken the train.
It was Saratoga. So it was not in New York. It was in California.
Oh.
I don't know why they changed it, but I think
because Saratoga's in New York, right?
No.
Where's Saratoga in Pennsylvania?
It's in California.
Yeah, but originally.
Normally the Belmont Stakes is in New York.
Oh wow, no, Saratoga's in the city in California.
Yeah.
How bizarre.
I love the fact that since COVID has happened, like it's just the races have been bizarre. But you know what? Okay, so if we want to go to a derby, there's a perfectly great derby in our backyard. Sunland Park Derby is a great derby to go to.
No, the county of New York State, Saratoga County. I knew it. Okay.
Okay, so continue.
Bowling Greens in New York, and this is just a side note. A lot of side notes.
I love it.
I was down in Bowling Greens, and I went on this fish caravel. Really cool little fishes, and the music. The kids were like, nah, want. And I was like, oh my God, this is so like cool. The fish are all lighting up and there's music. I'm like, and I'm like, I'm an adult in here. I love this. And it was kind of cool. Bowling Greens is one of the oldest areas in New York at the far end of New York. You know, they're in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And King George had a statue of himself put on a pedestal on a horse. And around that park where Bowling Greens is, where the fish caravel is, there was a metal fence, like almost a wrought iron fence. And on each post of the wrought iron was like the crest of the king on the top of the post. So when I want to say when the Stamp Act went into effect, the people of New York were so upset they marched all the way down this street to Bowling Greens, which was like, it's a long street. And they marched all the way down there to go pull down the statue of King George. And on all the fence posts for the wrought iron fence that goes around the park, they cut off the top of it that had the little symbol of the king's crest.
Yeah.
That fence is still there around the park. And
Really?
you can see where they cut it off, like with little hacksaws, whatever they had handy.
Wow.
I wish I would have known that at that time.
Why did you take a picture?
I didn't learn that until the week I got back.
Oh.
I wish I would have known that. I would have gotten a picture of the fence. Bowling Greens, New York, Manhattan. God,
That's
it's
cool. That
cool
is
history.
freaking cool.
Cool history. Okay.
I
Brazil, what do they do for New Year's? They go to the beach. In Spain, the tradition is eating 12 grapes.
Yes.
Maybe one for each month.
Yes.
Like eating a decadent fruit. In India, the tradition for New Year's, building a sculpture of an old man, which old man represents last year, and burning it down.
Oh.
Japan, I don't know what this represents, but the tradition for New Year's is eating soba noodles.
Okay.
Okay. Domi obrigado. France, you celebrate with champagne. Haiti, sharing soup jourmour, which is the French, I don't know what the French name is. Denmark, throwing old plates.
Okay.
I would imagine it has to do something with scaring old spirits.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good tequila. Okay. Canada, the Canucks celebrate New Year's by going ice fishing. Maybe not in Vancouver. Maybe they go partying. I don't know.
I love Canada.
Go Canada. I hope
Go
you
Canada.
I hope you become the 51st state of the union. Have you heard about that?
Oh, yes, I have. And
I know.
That's not going to happen. We both know this.
Oh, I hope. Come on in. The water's warm.
I honestly, I love
Just do
Canadians.
it. Just do it. I love Canadians.
Just
The Philippines celebrate the New Year's by serving 12 round fruits. I didn't catch, and I should have read this, if they had to be like the same fruit or different fruit. I would assume 12 different fruits would mean like good luck or something. I don't know. But what do I know? What's the Mexican tradition for New Year based on this article from Glamour magazine?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's just... How close are you to your Mexican family?
Oh, I've drank tequila.
Oh, God dang.
It says
You're
here,
asking the wrong Mexican.
giving the gift of homemade tamales. I don't feel like that's intentional that you do it.
I don't
feel
know
like
if
when
it's intentional.
Mexicans for Christmas make so many tamales that when family comes over, you just give it to them.
I don't feel like that is intentional. I just feel like it's
like,
happened.
hey, I've got tamales. Would
I
you
feel
want
like
some?
it's happening October, November, December.
What do I know?
What do I
What do
know
I
either? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know.
And Greece, the tradition one of the traditions for New Year's is hanging an onion outside your door, as it's kind of like a thing for like fertility. For the man or woman, I don't know, but it's like a thing for like have a year of fertility if you hang the onion outside the door.
It seems like a repellent.
This one was interesting because I love this place. Number 13,
Yeah.
one of my favorite places in the world, Colombia, placing 3 potatoes under the bed. They call it agüero, placing 3 potatoes under each family member's bed, one peeled, one not peeled, and the last one only partially peeled. At midnight, each person grabs for one with the eyes closed, and depending on the potato they select, they can either expect a good year of fortune, a financial struggle, or the mix of both. The potato knows everything. The potato knows. Now, Ireland, and for New Year's, they bang bread against the wall in an attempt to ward off evil spirits.
Oh, wow.
All right. Norway or Denmark. In Denmark, I mean, I hope we don't go to war with you over Greenland. I hope we just figure this out. You get the east and we get the west. I don't know. But they celebrate by creating towering cakes. Maybe, big cake, big tower, big New Year, good New Year.
I kind of feel like what's happening with government, like, it feels like a takeover, a company, like
blame
buyout.
China. Blame China.
I don't know.
I'm gonna blame China. In Italy, I like Italy. Ugh.
Okay.
Oh, the coffee, they. So, in Italy, you celebrate the New Year by wearing red underwear. I can do that. I'm done. I got this. Okay.
Hands down. Everyone's got this.
Okay.
For sure.
In Puerto Rico, this tradition seems like it's a Mexican tradition.
Okay.
Wah, wah, wah. But they celebrate New Year's by cleaning your home. That's pretty lame. I think Puerto Ricans, I'm going to cross that out. I think Puerto Ricans are more exciting than that, than just cleaning their home for New Year's.
Yeah.
Puerto Rican, I believe in you, Puerto Rico. I know you do more than that. I know you do more than clean your home for New Year's. And this magazine had it wrong. England, they listen to the bells toll from Big Ben.
Is that even true, though? Like, for real?
The Big
I
Ben.
mean, no.
Well, Big Ben is that big clock tower.
Not to say it's not already happening, but, like,
no,
are
they
people,
hear
like,
the...
just, like...
Well, it's like the Big Apple drop.
I
I'm sure
know.
people in England are like, so people go to New York and they watch this ball of lights fall?
So,
Why?
Maybe we need to, like, do some research on that. I don't believe it.
I think that's actually believable.
Is it?
I could see people going to the Big Ben clock tower thing and being like, it's New Year's, and then the bells go ding, 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 and people be like, Happy New Year,
Okay.
Let's have a spotted dick putty.
Okay. I don't want to research that. I'm good. Let's
It's a pudding.
move on.
It's a pudding that people
Let's
eat. It's
move
a bread
on.
pudding.
Okay.
Okay. And the United States and the southern states, like the deep south, they have a tradition of eating black-eyed peas and collard greens. It's all about eating the greens because the eating greens is supposed to be like attracting green. Moolah.
Ah.
Money, money, money.
Oh.
Money.
That's why I've...
Money, money, money.
Wow. That's why I'm not a millionaire. Dang it.
Eat your collard greens, girl.
Dang.
Scotland celebrates the first footing. And I read
First
about this
footing?
and I forget what it's. I want to say it's a dance or something like that, but it's called the first footing. First footing Scotland. The first visitor of the New Year should be whoa. Okay, it revolves around the arrival of the first person or the first foot to enter a house after midnight on New Year's Eve, marking the start of the new year.
Okay.
Okay, it's said that if a dark-haired man
You're preparing
is
yourself.
if he is the first footer,
First.
you'll have the best luck in the new year. Invite me over. I'm ready to go visit. I'm ready to be your footer.
Oh my God, that could be like your business model. Like,
Invite me over for a great new year.
Oh my gosh.
So that's
Advertise
Scotland.
that.
I'm going to. I'm going to
Oh
be
my
invited everywhere.
God.
Another tradition in Greece has to do with smashing pomegranates for the new year.
Okay.
Oh, I love them Greeks. Ove, opa, opa, opa. Jesus. I love Colombians. They showed up on here twice. Another tradition for the New Year on New Year's Eve is traveling up and down your street with an empty suitcase. And in the hopes that if you carry an empty suitcase with you on New Year's Eve, that in the new year you will do lots of travel.
What?
I fucking love Colombians.
Ay.
That's New Year's.
Okay.
We've been now around the world and ay.
Ay.
Yeah. Dude, how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I just know that 2024 was great. Got to see my sister, went to Germany, took my dad.
Hey, 2025 is going to be better.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
I know.
I mean, minus the fires, minus the winter storm.
Minus possibly
possibly going to war with China and Denmark over Greenland and tariffs against Mexico and Canada,
so
possibly Denmark, and the war in Ukraine and Syrian rebels taking over.
But stay positive. Because I know Starbucks.
We made it around the sun once.
I mean, after we just split it out like verbiage.
God, that's so funny.
I feel really so sad for you all, but honestly, I'm very hopeful.
You know what?
I'm so hopeful.
Craziness aside.
Jesus Christ, I'm freaking hopeful.
The year's been off to a quick start, a great start, but
let's wrap it up.
You know what? Good thing. I hope good things for everybody. I honestly do. I've always had this belief that every man has the right to live a happy and successful life, to be fruitful, work, support their family, to be surrounded by their loved ones, and I hope that if you live in this great nation of ours, you get to do so. And if you live in any of the other nations of the world, you get to live in peace and love. And, people in Ukraine they deserve to live in peace in their country and not have to fight this deathly war. And people in Syria deserve to live in a country that's free and not under a dictator. And Mexicans have a right to live in a country where they can provide a livable wage and support their family, not have to travel to other countries to work and worry about cartels killing everybody. And it actually doesn't sound like it would be difficult that we should all be able to live in this world.
Yeah.
It's possible.
It is.
It's possible. I always believe that it is possible. We have to work at it, but it's possible.
Well, just look at ourselves and just realize that
we're all in this together. And if you and me and everybody's going to live to about 75, 80 years old, why not make it good?
Well, we all have a choice to make ourselves better. Honestly, it could be hard. Let's make that conscious choice to be better. Honestly,
if you wanna live your life being a hooker, Jeanette, I support you because I'm your friend, and you have the right to do so.
It just sounded really weird when you
shaking my balls.
Yeah, thank you, but I don't want to be a hooker. But if you want to be a hooker,
be the best hooker you can be.
Yeah, honestly, if that's
just do it.
Be the best hooker you can be in 2025.
Yeah.
Tim, this is not the message, but just
no. Be like you said. Be authentic.
Just be authentic.
If you want to be the person you want to be, just be authentic, and it's going to be a great year. And like I said, I have a lot of reason to be thankful. I work with great people. I work under amazing people, and the people in my life are all amazing people.
Yes.
Yeah, and this backdrop of ours is going to get fixed, and we're going to have, hopefully by the next time we go live, we're going to have new cameras.
But I'm really happy that we get to go through this process with everyone.
I know everybody.
Honestly, this is amazing. This is great.
I think there's maybe like 2 viewers that have seen us from the get-go, where we were sitting on 2 chairs into our wobbly table, into our table in the corner. Now here,
this is a part of the authenticity. This is a part of we're just 100% ourselves.
We are.
Like,
we are.
we're not going to fake it.
We are.
It's happening. It's just, you're witnessing it. It's
And
amazing.
I'm glad
Thank
we have
you.
Jeanette here. Jeanette is the names. She's like one of only like 3 people that wanted to be on this and do they like say like, hey, that's cool. Let's do this, Mark. And everybody said, you want to make a video and talk and do what about what? But the reality of it is if you're here listening to us and you're in the same generation as us and going through the same struggles, and I hope you have a great year, and yeah, I hope it's fantastic. I do.
And I hope we're here for it and gonna definitely broadcast our version of it.
And hopefully we say something that really kind of sticks to you. So.
Yeah.
2025 is gonna be good. We're gonna have a good year. Cool. My
Bye.
Friend, bye.
Game off.
Game off. Yeah, good night.
You're so silly.
Oh my God, that was good.